This is the X&C Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, X&C Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox newscast. Welcome, everybody. It's episode 241. What, do you have something you need to execute there, Meg?
It was I who made Sarah and Phil sign off the Xbox's everything. Everything is proceeding as I have foreseen.
What order would you like me to execute, Mag, since we're...
You will find that Xbox Game Pass price hikes and expensive hardware will be fully operational when your friends arrive. I am
love
Satya. I am Satya the Slayer,
I love
as
it.
you can see right here. Satya the Slayer, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we're back. Listen, my voice is going to be a little little froggy here and there. I'm still getting over this bloody thing. 11 days sick, dude.
Yeah. It's been crazy.
11 days.
It's been so quiet with the gaming news, and we're going to get into a lot of stuff. A lot of news broke this morning. A lot of it Mag is catching up to. But Friday, I had a video out. I was like, okay, I'm just going to relax. It's my day off. And I went to my neighbor's house, who just 2 houses up. And I was like, let's play some guitar. Let's hang out. And as soon as I got there, my phone was blowing up the news. So we're going to cover it all today. And welcome, everybody. This is the X&C Podcast, where we cover the gaming news, talk about studios, we talk about the industry, we talk about leaks and rumors, we talk about the latest games, the tech, the hardware, and everything in between. And I am the host, Colteastwood, but I wouldn't be a very good host if I didn't have the amazing middle-aged game guy, or as we affectionately call him, the fairly aging game guy. How are you doing, Mag?
I've been called that a lot. Ask Ronnie Anderson in the chat, yeah. He's been calling me that since I showed up. I bet you loved that I was gone last week, eh? Okay, you're here now, and you're forced to listen to me, unfortunately.
Yes.
So I'm going to talk extra today. But yes, no, it's good to be back. I did a couple of videos last week. That's all I was able to produce because I couldn't do any live shows or whatever because my voice was just gone. And I mean, it still is now. This is the most ridiculous virus I think I've ever gotten in my entire life. 11 days sick, and I get sick once every maybe 3 times a decade. You know what I mean? And this thing just grabbed a hold of me and my whole family. So it was just ridiculous. But either way, the funny thing is, over the weekend, I was better, except for the voice. But I went up north and to my brother-in-law's cottage, whole family, my neighbors, their kids, a 3-day bender, just had a huge party, whatever else. And I'm like, I unlock the door. I walk in and you could see the big bay window overlooking the frozen lake. And I just went, oh, finally. Some peace and quiet.
Did you look over and it did the
minute
music
I
from
said,
Rocky 4? Dun, 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 dun,
yeah,
dun, dun.
That's right. The training music, right?
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden I'm like, finally some peace and quiet. I'm just going to go do this, whatever. It's going to be so awesome. We're going to have parties and we're going to have outdoor bonfires in the snow and we'll do all this. I swear 5 minutes after I took my jacket off, the phone explodes and it's just Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond and all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm in the closet talking to people. I'm like, what the hell's happening over there? I had a weekend to get away and I come back and I face this nonsense, but it was wild. So This is the first time that we'll be doing something live on the air to talk about the situation. And so it'll be pretty interesting, man. And I could tell you this, things are only going to get weirder as each day progresses and more people get brave as to what's actually going on over there, and what has been going on over there is finally coming to light. It is something that you and I, and sometimes more me, depending, have been talking about for 3 years now, or 2.5 years. We've been talking about it. You remember, chat? You remember we were talking about the civil war that was happening within Xbox and Microsoft, and what's going on between the executives and the staff and the town hall meetings and all that other stuff. We've been talking about this for years, literally 2 years. And now you're finally going to get to hear everything that's actually been going on behind those scenes. It's totally wild, man. It's totally wild. So
it is because
peel the onion as best we can.
Yeah, the peel the onion is a good way to put it, because I was going to just show up with no topics because this is the topic. but I broke down several things that we're going to be talking about because there is a lot to it when it starts with the firings and the retirings and the resignings and all that stuff. It's really insane. And shout out to everybody who's here to hear us break it all down. I've just kind of been piddling around on games. I've been playing in a New Game Plus with Avowed, and just kind of, there's been so much going on that I haven't done a lot of gaming, and then all this stuff broke over the weekend. So that's what I've been doing. And then when Mag was up north, he's up in the snow up there in Canada, and he called me like 3 times in a row, and I'm playing the guitar, and I'm like looking at my phone. I'm like, and I just knew it was all happening. I'm like, I didn't want to just leave and tell this guy, hey, I know this, we've been talking about getting together for so long, but I got to go. Phil Spencer just got beheaded in Town Square. So yeah, it was, it's been crazy. But before we get into everything, we appreciate all you guys are here. We've got to talk about our amazing sponsor. Before we do, in a couple of weeks, which is very, very soon, because we're a week left of February, in about 2 or 3 weeks, I'm going to Phoenix to the Gamer Expo, because 4XP is going to be, they have a whole big booth where they're going to be doing product demos and talking to people about their drink. And this is so cool. And I'm gonna turn it over to Mag in just a second to talk about the product. But he said that when people try 4XP in person and they hand him like a cup of it, he said the reactions are priceless. Like, people are really stoked about this, and they sell a ton of it at the venue once people can just grab it and take it home with them. So tell everybody about 4XP. I'm going to make up some Legendary, which is a blue raspberry, and tell them about our sponsor.
Well, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Colteastwood's going to make you some 4XP live in the flesh and funky fresh.
Like you
Here he is. He's
like
putting it
cook.
together. Yeah, exactly. Like the way I cook, Colteastwood mixes 4XP drinks. But folks, you got to go check them out. There's a link in the chat already. You can see it right there. Yodanio has already put it in there for 4xpgaming.com. Go check them out. And for anybody in that Phoenix area, go in person, man. It'd be pretty wild to go see them. However, there's something that we need to talk about with this 4XP business. They have a birthday celebration, because both guys that started this whole company are both turning 40 this year. Put a happy birthday in the chat for them. And they just turned 40 this week as well. I turned 51 last week, so I'm clearly the younger guy out of the three. But anyways, they turned 40 this week, and they're having a celebration for that. So from February 11th, 17th to 18th is when the birthdays are happening. They've run out of ordinary sales. Well, guess what? They did a B-Day sale. So the coupon you want to use for that is B-Day 40, all capitals. B-Day 40. Look at him. Look at him shake it up, ladies and gentlemen. Look at those biceps. Look at him. He's playing a solo. A little free bird for everybody. That's how it goes. So he's doing that, and they're doing that. You do the coupon of B-Day 40, and you know what? You're going to get big discounts when you go do that. So go do that and check it out. It's a 40% off sale. 40% off to celebrate their birthdays. 40% off. And I can guarantee you one thing. When 4XP runs and does their business, ain't nobody showing up to resign 3 days later. They're going to be there for the long haul, ladies and gentlemen. They're not going to get resigned/fired. They're going to be staying there. They're there for you. They're there for the customer, and they're not going to be replaced by anybody. So go check out 4XP Gaming. Go check out the B-Day 40 sale, 40% off. And if, like I said, if you're in the Phoenix area, go say hello.
Yep, and
because you might even get to see this scumbag right here. Colteastwood's going to be right there.
Yeah, I'll shake some people's hands and whatnot. Yeah, get the variety pack. You get all 3 flavors: watermelon, white gummy, blue raspberry. We appreciate them so much. Meg, let's get into a ton of Xbox gaming news. We'll start from the beginning. We'll kind of the intro part. We'll kind of rush through quickly because we've been talking about it like crazy for 3 days. But noon on the West Coast on Friday. Well, I'll start even earlier than that. Phil Spencer had told Satya Nadella that he was planning on retiring in the near future. The plan was probably to get through the 25th anniversary, maybe even work until they launch the next console. And I think, well, this is my personal opinion, Mag, that Satya said, if you want to leave, I've got plans. Let's just get you out now, because I have some people I need to change around. Maybe some people need to have them let them go. And so the news broke on a Friday instead of a Monday. This morning, we would have been hearing about it, but IGN was starting to leak the information, so they just had to go forward. Phil Spencer.
Yeah, that's right. They were going to drop it Monday.
Yeah.
Which is funny, because when they were going to drop it Monday, that actually probably would have worked out for all of us, because then we would have caught it right before we went live, and it would have been insane. But anyways, we are.
Yeah, it would have been
That's right,
crazy.
chat. That's how Team USA wins golds, by drinking 4XP. That's how you do it.
Yep.
That's how you win in overtime, folks. Anyways, carry on.
Yeah, so Phil Spencer
Friday
retired, but that wasn't it. With Phil Spencer retiring also means that Sarah Bond retired for other chapters. Before we get into all that, I guess, well, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this, Mag? With Sarah resigning?
No. Neither one was. I think that he's probably, I can tell you this. Phil was at one point, I know Greg Miller said some things to the same effect. Not to the same effect. I'm not going to start quoting people tonight because you know how that's been going not very well out there. People are misquoting Tom Henderson. They're you know what I mean? Like, it's just totally out of control. So I'm not going to do all that stuff. I'm just going to tell you what I think happened. He probably discussed his desires to go do something else because the pressure of that kind of job was obviously incredibly fierce. It was a lot to take in, and of course now you have to deal with the ire of the community. The product is not, sure they're making money, but at the same time, you know what I mean. The outlook of the product was not well. And if he decided that, I think it's exactly what you just said. He says, well, you know what, man, listen, we're going to be basically in corporate words, it's like, you guys were all going to get canned anyways. So you might as well, let's just put a bow on it and get you out the door and do a regime change. And they say it in a very nice way. That's right. They sprinkle it on there. They go, well, we were planning on doing a regime change in 2025, aka you're all going to get fired. So let's just give you the opportunity to walk away. You could be on an advisory role for a bit. We'll give you a huge retirement package or whatever, like a severance package, which he probably got 2.5 years his salary. So he's probably walking away with 15 mil, if not more, US dollars, which is a ridiculous amount of money.
Should be able to buy a Series X. The guy didn't have to work another day
in his life. Yeah. He could buy a Magnus for $15 million. Like he could buy one console for next generation, folks. Right. So he's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there is that. And Yodani's saying I'm frozen, which is weird. But
Special Nick in the chat says, which we're going to get to in a moment. He says they're scapegoating the crap out of Sarah Bond. I wanted to ask you.
I was going to get to that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've already made 2 videos, so I want to make sure that you get your voice out there since your voice was gone and you were also gone. What's your take on Sarah's resignation?
I think it was the same thing. But at that point, she was not aware of it. I think she was fired pretty much instantly, saying like, "Hi, we've been having discussions with everything else or whatever else, and the other people in the crew, and we've decided to move on from this and that." But what they do with these high-profile people, they never tell them they're fired. They basically give them the opportunity to resign instantly, right? And so it just makes it look better for their LinkedIn profiles. It's better for their image. So they're not walking away in disgrace. Like every single CEO from these big companies, they resign. But here's the other thing, though: a lot of them resign and say so usually months ahead of time. It's usually like a 90-day period before they actually walk away and do those kind of things.
Yeah,
I mean, Disney just went through it with Kathleen Kennedy, thank God. However, but they just did that with Kathleen Kennedy, announced her resignation, have 2 other guys, a guy and a gal coming in, but it's going to be a disaster over there. Here comes the new boss. Same as the old boss. Let me tell you something. It's going to be the same story here. So yeah, exactly. I know. Go.
Yeah.
Do it now. Smash your guitar on live.
No, that's very sacrilegious.
I'm sure Pete Townsend has a few extra guitars.
Yeah.
So they were. You know what I'm saying? Like in a very flowery way, Phil was given the opportunity to walk, and they probably made he was made privy to the situation. But of course, on top of all that, when it comes to corporate structure, you're not allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed to sit there and go, by the way, we're doing a regime change now that you're mentioning this, Phil. So let's sit down. We'll figure out a day when we're going to do all this stuff, but there's going to be other heads are going to roll. You obviously cannot talk about it. Probably made him sign an NDA because, you know what I mean? And then, like I said, her Twitter handlers, not her Twitter handlers were tweeting stuff like 2 hours, 3 hours before she resigned. Talking about her plans for the future of Xbox and when everybody plays, we all win and all this other stuff. And then all of a sudden, 3 hours later, without it a peep, she's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, she resigned too." That was slipped under the door, and so they were let go. In one way or another, they had already made plans around them. That's how they do these things. They build a new structure before they knock down the old structure. So they had probably been talking to Asha there for probably quite some time, privately for probably a year or so, saying, this is what we're going to do. This is what's happening. This is what we want a fresh change of faces. But I have a whole other conversation to talk about her future, but we'll get to that later. As for the scapegoating that Special Nick was talking about, she was complicit in some of it because we had known that for months and months and months, well before this happened, that a lot of those things were coming from her. Like, for example, sure, they're going overboard with it, but at the same time, there was a lot of stuff that she did. Now, is she alone in that? Absolutely not, because everything that she proposes has to be signed off by somebody. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if she decides to do the Xbox, Xbox is everywhere, or everything is at Xbox, or this and that, whatever, someone has to sign off on that, so that she has to bring it to her, to her higher powers, so to speak, and then they got to look at it. They got to either prove it or deny it. So, like, it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
No, we need to talk about how Sarah Bond is blamed for a lot of the changes. Phil Spencer is blamed for a lot of the changes. A lot of people are saying this is all Satya is doing. We're going to break into that because a lot of stuff has come to light thanks to Tom Warren's article. He interviewed a bunch of people at Xbox and former and current employees. There is actually a lot of stuff that we have to cover before we dive into everything that's happening with there's 4 people involved that we're going to talk about in the show. But there's actually some good news and some hopeful news, and I'll put the stuff like out of place first. I'll put it in place that, a lot of people are like, oh, they're going to come back to the old Xbox. Everything's going to be amazing. I will tell you, thank you everybody who's watched Meg's shorts that he did while he was on location and then watched my 2 videos. I appreciate you guys. Like, I put out a video today. A good maybe 30% of the video was a direct quote from Thomas Mahler, who used to run Moon Studios, and he gave this really great insight. And I talked to someone who said it sounded like you were demanding all these things from Asha and Microsoft. I was like, no, that's literally his quote. And I tried to call back to it, but there's a lot of
talking about the video you did.
Yeah, that had like the Ori footage. It was a really great statement from Thomas Mahler, really well thought. And when he wasn't on screen, I was trying to refer back to Thomas. So there's a lot that we're going to cover, but let me talk first about some of the good news that is coming in right now, because a lot of people are saying Xbox is dead, but there's some things happening right now. And one of the recent rumors that I was digging into right up until we went live is the possibility that it might not happen, but maybe by the end of this week, like this Thursday, Xbox will announce they're doing a partnered showcase event, a digital event to showcase some of their games and partners they're working with, or even the possibility of part 2 of the Developer Direct. Before I get into that, I have to explain that the Developer Direct we got was fairly bare bones for Xbox, who has a 25th anniversary coming, and we all were kind of scratching our heads, like, right, Meg? It's like 3 games and then Kiln? Like, that didn't really make sense. So I had heard behind the scenes that they had 6 to 7 games for Developer Direct. They showed up with 3, and I thought, what? That doesn't make any sense. And there's some things going on, and I'm checking into like some trusted insiders. Jez Corden and King David were also kind of saying the same thing separately. Like, there's a real possibility there's another event. Xbox has a lot going on. So I'll just say, don't be shocked if we get an announcement for another Developer Direct with maybe 3 or 4 games. That would make sense. If that happens.
And also to introduce her.
Good. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right, because she started today. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, it'll be like the kind of thing where like she shows up and they're like, okay, here's a little showcase or a little Developer Direct to do before the summer. Let's just say that actually happens. And then what happens is then she shows up and says, hi, I'm Asha Sharma, and then we're doing this whole thing, and I'm the new CEO of Xbox, and we're going to tell you what's happening in an exciting future and whatever other bull crap that they come out of the corporate whatever. But anyways, that's the idea. But that's a possibility, dude. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see that, because otherwise we're going to wait for June, and that's fine. We can wait for June to see what other things Xbox has in the pipeline. But maybe it won't happen. But these things literally come from not me, but they come from people that are talking to their buddies that work in the business, or they work at the, they're leaking this stuff carefully. I've also personally seen some things come across my desk that say, well, that kind of looks like that lands in that actual pocket of possibility, stuff that I can't talk about yet. So we'll see. I mean, it's always good to get excited about something. If you don't get it, I guess that sucks. But keep an eye out for something, because if it would be coming up soon, we would probably hear about it like by the end of the week. What a crazy week it is to talk about everything that's happening. So, Mag, let's start with the report. We have to be very gentle and ginger about this. Little touches, Mag. We'll start with little whispers. You and I will whisper about the little gingerness. Oh yeah. Hey, Mag.
I got a thing for ginger women. I can't help myself. It's a weakness, man. It's an illness that I can't. It's my kryptonite, man.
Would it be weird if I told you that I often make you a ginger in AI and lovingly look at the pictures?
What? It's like a look at myself?
No, I make pictures of you with flowing, just golden
red
auburn hair. And I'm like,
the irony is that before I got married, like my last 4 girlfriends and 1 mistress were all gingers.
Meg. Oh, before you got married?
What?
Not before the wedding night. Okay.
Before. Worked in a restaurant, man. You had girlfriends and mistresses. That's how we ran in those days. It was wild.
Get in my convertible. Get out of my dreams.
Yeah. I was singing Billy Ocean.
What were we talking about? Oh, we're gonna be careful
around
about
the
this.
twist. We are buried, buddy.
Yeah, we're gonna be careful.
Sorry.
I was a little bit of a redhead when I was first born, like kind of looked like it, but maybe it was a crappy camera my parents had. We're going to be careful about this because there were lots of discussions months and months or even a year before all this happened that Sarah Bond at Xbox wasn't always the most loved and adored, and there was a lot of friction. I know you'd heard that. I had heard it from people. Time ago. I'd also heard that people loved Sarah Bond and that she was fun to work with and she was excited about the brand. But this is especially like come to, it was kind of roosted up because people see her getting let go, right? As the way they look at it. And they're like, oh yeah, it's because no one liked her, right? So that's kind of the discussion's been going on.
Yeah. That doesn't make a difference. I've worked with many a-holes that as long as they lick the corporate boots, they're there forever. They don't care about the complaints. They don't care about the HR calls. They don't care about all that stuff. You making them money, you're staying there no matter how miserable of a whatever you are. So like that had nothing to do with it. It had nothing to do with it. People could complain all day long. I'm telling you right now, corporations are the most soulless, disgraceful work environments of all time. And trust me, I know. And now that I'm out of it, I can look out and in, and I can give everybody the bird's eye view of what really happens in the front office of a corporate, of a corporate structure, of a corporate building, a company, whatever. And so I can tell you this: they don't get rid of people because of behavior, unless it's sexual harassment that, like, basically they have to because the Me Too crowd will come and destroy them. Or racism for whatever reason. And so that kind of stuff. But anything else, they don't care. They let it slide, man. They're scumbags. All of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
So there's a lot of layers there because
Sorry, I didn't mean to be so whatever, but
no, it has to be said, like, there are people who are like, oh, Asha Sharma, so glad to meet you. This is great. This is so exciting. Come on our podcast and hang out with us and add me on Xbox Live and let's play Borderlands 2. We'll get into all that in just a bit.
No.
But Sarah Bond was instrumental. I've got a quote here. I'll read it first before we dive in. The pivot away from console, led by Bond under Spencer's direction, hasn't gone well for Xbox. The strategy has been failing internally and has been questioned multiple times. Bond has tried to push mobile and cloud over console to reach potentially millions of customers, but the result has been a classic case of chasing tomorrow's customers by neglecting today's. Sarah Bond was very instrumental in the marketing and the business plan behind, you can get with this or you can get with that, and you can put this here and you can shove it that. And she was very instrumental behind no console required, Samsung TV, you don't need to buy a console. Just like, this is an Xbox, right? And ask anyone, Mag, and they will tell you that marketing told all of the gaming fans, not just Xbox fans, that Microsoft no longer cares about the Xbox. anymore. And so this is a major friction point, but there's a little more to it, Mag, isn't there?
You know, the thing is, when the way that they, first of all, it's not right that you used one of the single greatest albums of all time from Black Sheep. Okay, anybody hip hop heads from the 90s know Black Sheep, and their first album was extraordinary, and they had to use that song. I mean, I know it's an overplayed song anyway. All the drunk college girls dance to it. In number 9. It's like, oh, just shut up. You weren't even born yet.
That was them?
Yeah. Okay. But besides that, they desecrated the song by putting it in that ad. Here's the thing. Like I said earlier in the show, when those commercials and those things come up, people are talking about it in the chat. They're like, oh, she was utilizing angles for, like, let's say for mobile, for cloud, this and that. That's where she came from. So it makes a lot of sense when you come from T-Mobile and you come over to Microsoft. Of course, you're going to bring some of those ideas with you. That's kind of the idea, right? So I get all of that too. But what you're talking about here is that making the focus of Play Anywhere, they were trying to portray the idea that you could access Xbox everywhere. And the problem with that, and now that's not the problem. That's actually not a problem. If that's part of your business plan, totally cool. It'd be like, all right, listen, we want people to say you don't need a console or whatever else. You can access Xbox from all these different things, so it won't cost you as much money. Okay, so if you can't afford a Series X, you can access from the cloud. You can access from your phone. You can access from this, or you could just do it everywhere, and it's kind of cool. It's kind of like having a Nintendo Switch 2 in your pocket everywhere you go. I get the idea. The problem is, once again, it's not so much the executive. Well, we're going to get to the executives in a minute. They're not getting away from anything today. But the thing is, this also comes from their absolute dog water marketing that Microsoft doesn't know how to market anything. They couldn't market fire, okay, to people living in the snow. I can't say Eskimos anymore because apparently you're not allowed to say that. So we'll say Inuits.
Come on.
You know,
Seriously?
They couldn't sell fire to Inuits. Okay, like they don't know what they don't know what they're doing. There's a man who's like literally starving to death, and they wouldn't even know how to sell that guy a steak. Like they don't know what they're doing. Their marketing is absolute 0 out of 10 continuously. I told you something off the air, which I'm going to say it right now. I don't care. I'll say it in front of everybody.
Sure.
I'm going to tell you guys right now what happened. Okay, before this whole nonsense happened on Friday, members of Obsidian are actually so peeved off with the Xbox marketing, I'll keep names out of it, that they are literally want to launch a formal complaint to the heads up, whatever. Now it's going to be Asha. She's going to be taking that and saying that they're basically not bombing, but they're basically burying their games before they're out because nobody even knew that their games are coming out. There's no hype. There's no marketing. There's no anything. So and that's true story, folks. Talk to 3 people.
I don't know if what Mag says,
and they're pissed.
I don't know if what Mag says is true, that Obsidian is rising up and asking Microsoft to answer for their lack of marketing.
I'm not saying all of them.
But I can tell you that as a fan of Avowed and Outer Worlds 2, the only marketing that I saw was Obsidian's Twitter account saying, hey, look at our game. Hey, look at this gameplay. Hey, this is when our game's coming out. And I really didn't see a lot of push. And I'm sure maybe there's Xbox tweets. I don't know if...
Who's looking at that?
Well, millions
you
of
have
people
to be in their algorithm to see it.
Millions of people look at Twitter, but that's a good point. There's a difference between, I'm going to destroy that argument right now. There's a difference between showing Outer Worlds 2 on a tweet and showing something from Insomniac. Or if Insomniac showed a little bit of gameplay footage of the upcoming Spider-Man game or Wolverine, the likes and engagement are through the roof. The difference is, and I tried to portray this in my last video, some of Xbox's games just don't jump out of the screen. I love those games, and we all like Fable. Fable's doing pretty well, I guess. But sometimes Xbox's games just don't launch out of the screen and grab you by the shirt and say, you're playing this as soon as you physically and humanly possibly can. I know that when I see games like Extraction 33 or the other big heavy hitters that are popular each year, even Doom the Dark Ages didn't grab people by the lips and yank, as my friend Weird Al Yankovic would say in UHF. You're not getting that from Xbox games as often. So when people say they need to do better marketing, And you and I had this conversation the other day when you said Obsidian could possibly or allegedly be complaining to Microsoft, like, we aren't being properly marketed to and it's killing our games. I agree. Like, it does kill their games. But I'm wondering, what else do you want? You want them to plaster it on a bus? What kind of marketing is missing? Sometimes I think
the thing is though. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, all I was gonna say was is that yes, the marketing is a huge push. That's what really drives people to the product, and that's what gets people to say, "What is that? I need to go check it out," or whatever, right? But the thing is, you also have to back it out with a stellar game that really grabs everybody, and it has to grab everybody, not a subsect of people, not a 10% going, "Well, I liked it." Nobody cares what you like. It has to be 90%. It has to be 80%. It has to
Mass
be
appeal.
overwhelming. And it has to be on the tip of everybody's tongues going, you got to go play this game. You got to go play this game. And I watched your video as I was driving home from up north today. And you were talking about how like the things that, need to happen or whatever with this new regime and all that kind of stuff. And some of the things that you were talking about is like, there has to be a quality control button that has to be pushed and has to be looked at. Like, for example, when Nintendo does that golden, what is that golden seal of approval or whatever the hell it is?
Nintendo seal of quality, yeah.
Yeah, the seal of quality. Sorry, folks, I'm still working on this thing, so every once in a while I'm going to see me coughing off mic.
We'll be here to your last day, Mag.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'll be like 90 and saying, "I'm sorry for the coughing, guys. I'm slowly dying." But anyways,
Can't get my Nintendo Switch 9 to work.
Yeah, my Switch 9 is acting funny. It's like, no, just your arthritis. So the thing is, you talked about that, and you said these games have to grab you, and there has to be someone at the door, even just like when Cory Barlog was told by what's-his-face there at Sony, said, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah, not good enough.
He's like, "This is what you want to bring Kratos back to?" Like, because I watched that documentary, right? And then he's like, "No, scrap it, start it again." He goes, "This is not good." And so like there was someone there to stop Cory Barlog and say, "Hi, I like your idea, but the game sucks. Go back and remake it." And he did. And like Cory Barlog looked like he was gonna like, those memes of like Pablo Escobar when he's like standing like this with his arms behind his back, like staring at the empty pool. And that was like Cory Barlog for like 3 days. And then he came back to the table and he released what he released, the 2018 God of War. There needs to be someone there to do that and say, "Listen, man, this is not only just for Xbox. This is not just for Game Pass. This is not just for Xbox gamers. Now this is for PlayStation players, Switch 2 players, PC players. You better make this game a 10 out of 10. Don't care. I don't care go cry in your Niçoise salads. Go make the game, release it on time, get your asses in gear." I can tell you one thing. This lady also ran Core AI for several years before she came over there. She will replace you. Probably still will anyway. But she's going to replace you anyway. You're going to get if you're not producing, because she is taking on a presumed or at least a perceived train wreck, so to speak. And so in order to do something about that, drastic measures will be taken. And so there's going to be a lot that's going to happen here. And I'm going to give her a chance. I'm going to give her one chance because I don't trust her at all. I don't trust Satya Nadella, and I don't trust Microsoft. So whatever plans that they had, those plans were already in motion well before they got rid of Sarah and Phil. I'm telling you right now that whatever's happening, there's going to be no massive changes unless she gets the go-ahead to do so. But at the same time, Amy Hood's standing there and saying, "Okay, cool, you have all these cool ideas. Guess what? You still have to make those margins or you're done anyway." So she still has to do what they say. She ain't coming in there like Superman or Superwoman and coming in there and start zapping people and doing this and that. She's not. She still has to toe the line and do what they tell her to do. And so by doing that, she has to dance this fine line of doing what she sees as a possible future for this ecosystem, and she still has to deal with her overlords.
Okay.
That's a tough gig. It's a tough gig. And Booty, who the hell knows what he's up to? I think he's just there collecting a paycheck, and he just, writes on his lunch saying, "Please don't eat my lunch, Mr. Booty." You know what I mean? That's it.
I think there's going to be some status quo stuff will happen further away you get from Asha Sharma. So we'll talk about that before we get into Asha and everything that's going to, because there's a laundry list of demands, that everyone has from gaming fans, and then
they're not going to happen. I saw the laundry list. Forget 90% of what people wrote down. Sorry,
there's
sorry
a
to burst everybody's bubble.
Couple interesting twists I heard from somebody that I really admire that we'll get into a little bit later. But what happened this morning is Sarah Bond became the de facto scapegoat, and Special Nick was in the chat about 20 minutes ago and said that he thinks that's BS. Him personally, he thinks that Sarah Bond saw Asha Sharma come into this position that she will eventually want to get to. And she's like, I'm out. I'm going to go do something different. I don't want to be here anymore. Or maybe she thought this wasn't the Xbox she thought that she would help run. I don't feel that way. I feel like that what you said was this was a long time coming, that Satya has been like thinking, I got to shift things, because I will tell you, listen closely, everybody. And shout out to 850 people who are here watching live. Thank you so much. Smash, like literally smash down the like button if you guys are enjoying the show. You will learn a lot tonight. We appreciate you. Stick around. We have a ton to cover, and I got a lot of inside stuff that's all melding into the news. So with Sarah Bond, I'm trying to get back to my thought process, that she did all this stuff and Phil Spencer had to prove all of it. Now, my issue is that, this is what I want to say, listen up for the past 2 years, we as a gaming community, or even as Xbox fans or peripheries, we didn't really like the way Phil Spencer was running things. He would say one thing and then he'd do the opposite because he had to. He was pushing hard not to push into a multi-platform thing, and then he just folded because there was no other way. And Sarah Bond is taking the brunt of the blame for what's going on, and why, we heard that she wasn't well liked. She had a really strong push up a hill against a company that wanted to go in totally different ways. To me, it seemed like Sarah was saying, I guess we could say this because she's not here anymore, but to me, it always seemed like Sarah was like, Satya, I'll do what you want. Because Satya's like, I don't want exclusives. And Sarah, like you said earlier, Meg, which is brilliant. She's like, well, we can joke, right? When I was at T-Mobile, like our services were available to as many people as we could. So we were trying to branch out in our network to anyone we could reach in the network, right? I mean, that's the thinking she should come in with. And then Phil was like, you can't just say the console doesn't matter and then reduce it because the core gaming fans that make most of your money for you will feel betrayed. They feel like they're not seen and they're not heard. But it seemed to me, Mag, that Sarah was just saying, Satya, I can do that. I can make that happen. I'm your person. And that Phil would have to approve that stuff. So Phil is responsible for many of the changes and the decisions because he had to say yes. And maybe he said no, and they said no to each other many, many times. So I want to hear your opinion about the scapegoat thing, since I just gave a whole long speech.
You remember back in August, we talked privately, and I told you that there was some issues going on behind the scenes between the two heads, being the two that are no longer there. That was no accident, and that was 6 months ago. And that was back in August. I was talking about. I'm like, I'm hearing a lot of stuff going on over there, and that's that civil war thing going on. But there was also butting of heads between the two heads, aka the two people no longer there. So there was a little bit of that going on too. So there was some give and take. But the thing is, whenever you have a buffer, which is the CEO, you could go around your bosses. That's how corporations work. I see what people are saying in the chat. I see some people are saying, yeah, but Phil was her boss. What the F, this and that. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. Because when there's a bigger fish, those people very sneakily, very, very whatever, underhandedly will go to the above boss and try to undermine their boss. That's how these corporate structures work. It is literally just a parade of backstabbing, whatever. Stuff I can't say. I'll save it for Magcast tomorrow, the horrible language I have. But that's what it is. It is literally just a parade of backstabbing. And that's what these people are constantly doing. Why? Because they're all jockeying for better position. They do it. They basically, in order to get them up one level, they will step on your head and drown you in order to get to the next step. And that's exactly what these people do. Trust absolutely nobody in a corporate structure. And so therefore, a lot of the stuff that I had heard about months and months and months ago about her specifically, it seems to track, doesn't it? It certainly seems to track. Now, she may have some good intentions in there. She may have bad intentions, or maybe personal. But I don't really care. It's not my business. I don't work with them. I don't have to deal with their crap. I have to deal with snakes of my own. So there's everybody's got their own snakes to deal with, and I got the stick, and I got to beat those. I got to beat that grass and get those snakes running. Slithering away. But that's everybody has to fight their own battles.
Yeah.
As for what's going on over there being like an exclusive scapegoat, no one has actually really said that she was been exclusively the problem or this and that, whatever. A lot of people are running with that online, but those are just people online. Like, you know, the comments section, they're running wild with stuff, but that's how people always do. They pick out 3 words of a fact and then they just run with the 3 words and then they totally turn it into broken telephone. You remember that game you played with as a kid? You sit around in a circle and then you say, the giraffe ate a banana at the zoo. And then by the time it comes around the other way, it says, you know, Stephen Hawking was in the Epstein files. It's like, what? Where did you get that from? Like a giraffe eating a banana at the zoo? But that's how these things are. So basically, it's just corporate broken telephone, especially on social media. Don't listen to 90% of what happens out there. He was. I know he was. But still, did you see those pictures? Like, dude, what was he going to do? Like... on the sun chair. Like they had him on the sun chair. I'm like, what was he doing?
Oh
like
my gosh.
They shoved like a daiquiri in his armpit. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Anyways, the point is that she is not exclusively to blame, but she is certainly not innocent. Either is Phil. He is not exclusively to blame, but he certainly is not innocent. However, you know, when you got a position like Phil's, here's the other problem. You notice how like a lot of people were really starting to dog on him more and more and more in the last 2 to 3 years, as opposed to the 10 years. Okay, people dogged on him during the 10 years, right? But not like the dogpiling that happened over the last 2 or 3. Why? Because policies were changing because somebody else was telling him what to do. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, if you've seen episode 1, that everybody pulling the strings, there's always a Phantom Menace, okay? There's always an emperor behind that guy who has to, you know, saying these things or whatever, and then that guy has to sit there and try to do what he's trying to do, and at the same time, he has to listen to what the Dark Lord of the Sith is whispering him in his ear saying, you need to do this, 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 and this. So there's a bit of blame to go around for everybody as to for how we got to I don't work for Xbox. How they got to this position and how they ended up the way they are. Regime changes happen all the time. I mean, if you look at a team that sucks, okay, like the Dallas Cowboys or whatever, and what happens after a year or two? They can everybody.
Yeah.
They get rid of the coach. They get rid of the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator. They get rid of everybody. And then what do? They don't start again. It's the same goal, but they're moving towards something else with different people.
You know, the catalyst of all this was ABK. Ever since ABK, they were able to boost how much money they were making, but their revenue percentage growth was shrinking. There is a really interesting what if that sounds... Somebody's like feeling like this could be a thing. Remind me to talk about ABK in a minute. Grab a couple supers. Kung Fu Hot Dog, a member chat, says, Gents, Asha Sharma is a questionable pick for many reasons. Future Xbox games will have AI slop generated by frustrated devs. Bring back Xbox exclusives. We'll talk about the AI slop and the devs in a minute. We appreciate you. Grandpa's Barbecue Game Cat with the channel membership. Chat says, I think there'll be many different opinions in today's episode. Controversy, anyone? Yeah, Meg and I will disagree on a few things, but this will be a good discussion.
But that's what we do. Like, what friends do you have that you agree with everything that they say? Nobody.
They're not my friends.
Nobody.
Anymore.
There's nobody. Yeah. There's always going to have something that you disagree about, and that's what we're here for. And listen, man, if we just sat here in the same old agreeing with everyone, it says that doesn't make for great entertainment.
The other day I was on the phone with Fonz and we were yelling back and forth at each other. And then off the phone, I was like, and then the next day I'm like, what's up, bro? And he's like, what's up? It's been crazy, man. Yeah, Josh Duckwall, thank you so much for the 5. What's that?
I said, we're not going to yell at each other.
Yeah, we're not going to yell at each other. Every once in a while I hear a comment. You and Mag always talk over each other, but the problem is Discord, that once one of us speaks, it fades in real quick. And that's why I always go, what was that? Because I couldn't hear it because of the Discord, does this fade in on our end. So, but thank you guys for being patient. Mag and I are 2 loudmouth old men, and this shall be, right?
That's right.
Yep. Josh Duckwall, thanks for the 5. He says, hello, gents. Hope you're all well. I'm stoked for Resident Evil Thursday on Thursday night. Cheers. Bro, Mag. Resident Evil.
See, listen to that. BT Maverick in the chat. He says, I disagree with 90% of what Mag says. That's bad. He says, but I still like him. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, true. I disagree with 70% of the things you say, and I tolerate you, I guess.
Thank you, Round the Twist. Appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
We appreciate you, Mag. The Perk with a 5 says, shots. Have a great show. Don't get me drunk. Too drunk, Mag.
That's Percolator 9000 if anybody's curious.
Oh, yeah, the Percolator. Okay, yeah. Andy Hart, thanks for the 5. He says, do you believe Phil was pushed out or was it his decision to retire? Also, do you believe it has been respectful? Do you believe it has been respectful way it panned out? Yeah, it's sort of respectful, but yeah, I think he was pushed out. Like we said earlier, he had plans to move at a certain time, and Satya's like, let's just get you out now. Here's your package. I've got other things in mind. So Phil
I think they looked
at
at it as an opportunity to move him out. Because once he said something, they found a weakness. They found an opening, and they're like, oh, there's the opening. And then as soon as he said he's thinking about it, they're like, right away they jump on it. They're going, yo, absolutely. Let's get it done. Let's do this. Let's do this. I'll give you a big I'll give you a big package. I'll give you a big package. Pause, and then we're gonna move on from there, and we're gonna do that. Spare eyebrows. Nobody asked you. Nobody. Zero. Come to Madcast tomorrow night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Spare eyebrows. Sorry. I would love to have spare eyebrows.
He comes to my show.
I don't even have them. Look.
Apparently he does have spare eyebrows.
Well, send over.
Got some smart ass comments to say though.
Send a brother over some of those wonderful eyebrows. I could put them on my face.
Oh God, I still can't laugh. You know that, right? Like every time I try to laugh, I go into a hacking fit. Yeah, I go into this like hacking fit because it's just still there. But
I had a friend every time he laughed. Just like that every time.
Oh, one of those guys? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know those guys. Yeah, that's great.
And then we would mock it, and then eventually turn it on.
Yeah.
Wow. Like it wasn't even the same sound because it evolves over time. Literal Table, thanks for the chat. So Satya didn't step on a rake. He stepped on a landmine. There are some good things to come from this. Before we dive into all of that, I just want to say there's still 40 games coming, give or take 30 if something doesn't get canceled or shelved or whatever. The new hardware's coming. We'll get into that. So if you're excited about those things, a couple of my friends are like, Colt, you need to stop shilling for Xbox. I'm like, I'm excited about the games and the hardware, so I'm always going to be excited about that. But Meg and I sit here and complain about all the other stuff the whole show. That's what we always do. Meat Puppet says, hey, with the waving hand. Andy Hart, thanks for another 5, says, Xbox has a serious problem with marketing. For example, I'd love to know how much Sony make from Champions League as they are one of the main sponsors. I don't know anything about that. Do you, Mag? Champions League?
No, I do not, unfortunately.
Probably make a ton of money.
Champions League. I mean, I know Champions League like the soccer, but I don't know if that's what he's referring to.
Yeah, they probably make a crap ton of money. PlayStation knows how to make money, and Xbox needs to learn how to do that a little bit better. Someone showed the revenue comparison, just revenue, not profits, between Xbox and PlayStation, and Xbox isn't really that far behind. The problem is, it's not always about how much money you make. It's how much more money you're making from last year. And let's make it dumb, right? My YouTube channel, I want to have everybody watching. I want more likes, and I want more comments, and I want more viewers to watch because that stuff's important. It helps me feel like I'm growing the channel. And when the chart starts dropping or flattening out, you're like, what the crap? It feels like a major fail. And I'm just telling you that as a personal thing, right? And Mag's doing this new thing, and the channel is 4,000 subs in the first year. And like sometimes you kind of look at that line, like hopefully that's going up because you kind of want to be bigger and better and you want to be improving, right, Mag?
Always stay in the green. Always, even if it's 1, as long as the arrow is pointing upwards, even if it's 1 instead of 1,000 or whatever, as long as it's heading in a positive direction, that's all you should be focusing on. Yeah.
It's like my man Michael Knight always said, Kit, pull around back.
That's right.
So, somebody's gonna be like, what the fudge? Ace Out Gaming, thanks for the 2, says, heard a rumor Sarah Bond got a position at Sony. Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
That would be so funny.
One more, and then we'll get back in discussion. We're going to talk about Asha Sharma in just a second. Ocarina Hero 93, thank you so much for the 5. Says, can you guys give your take on Asha's recent post on X, on Twitter? As an Xbox fan, I brought up the idea of Xbox making games exclusive again, and she's listening. Yeah, an Xbox fan has a tweet. Let's start with that, Mag. I did a bunch of talking. Let's talk about Asha's tweets before we go into the whole deal. What did you see?
That's the when she said "hear you." That was the equivalent of getting an email that says when you have a complaint saying, "Yes, I just found that the office is a little bit cool. So, like, is there any chance that the head custodian can turn up the thermostat a little bit?" And then the boss sends you an email back that says "noted," which means it's never going to happen. Noted. It means it's never going to happen. Yeah, she is pretty hot, actually, Luke.
So,
yeah, you're not
tell the people,
I think
reset, because we're doing an audio and a live podcast. Tell people what the tweet said when she said "hear you" in basic terms.
Oh, I don't have the exact tweet in front of me, but the
what was
gist
the guy
of it
asking
was,
for? Yeah,
he was saying, is there any, like, it was important to the previous Xbox ecosystems and this and that or whatever about exclusivity with games and all that stuff to make the console feel like it's actually worth purchasing. But they've, everybody knows they diluted the waters too much now, because now, yes, they got access everywhere, which is wonderful in a lot of ways. But what it also does is that it dilutes the customer base, because now you don't have one way to purchase it, right? You could buy a PC, you could buy, any kind of open tech that could do it, your TVs, your monitors, your whatever, right? I don't have to go through all of that. But the point is, by doing that, they diluted the player base, then they diluted the product, and then from there, they had to go third party, right? It's the only way that they were going to be able to survive beyond now, I think. So, and of course, they need to make more money. Yes, you in the front, Mr. Eastwood. Yes.
I need to go. No, I don't think they diluted the player base. They expanded to more people, but no one was buying. Like, how many? You and I mocked like 2 years ago on this podcast. Who's really going to say, I'm not really a gamer, but I'm gonna go buy one of those. What do they call them? The Google dongle thing. I'm going to go buy one of those Fire Sticks and I'm going to play AAA video games on my TV, but now I got to go buy a controller. Like, they were thinking they were going to bring in everybody into gaming, but gamers are gamers. Like, for the most part, if you game, you already have a way to game. You're playing on a crappy laptop or a super expensive rig or console. Like, how are you going to bring these people in? And no one's going to choose the Fire Stick in their TV, but that's just my
that's for people who are already in the ecosystem looking to expand it outwards. Like, for example, if you're going on a plane and you're going on a plane, you're going on a trip, and the people that are already in that ecosystem say, well, actually, I can access all my games from the cloud on whatever product and this and that. I could do it on my phone while I'm on the plane or whatever, on a tablet, and you could do all those things. Yeah, no one's going to GameStop and saying, okay, do you guys sell the Xbox Fire Stick? Very few people, because most of them probably don't even know the damn thing exists. A lot of those different products actually are just like, accessory products that people are already in the ecosystem are utilizing. Therefore, that's why it doesn't grow. But the thing is, what they did, and what he was trying to say in that tweet, to get back to that, is that what ended up happening is that by expanding it too much into too many opportunities, no one was buying the console, especially when they're saying like, well, you don't really need to. And so everybody's like, all right, cool, I'll just go buy that PlayStation. And so they go buy that instead. And then they just, because it's easier, it's simpler. You funnel customers into one area. And by doing so, it makes the decision a lot simpler. When you want to play Nintendo, you go buy a Switch, period. When you want to play PlayStation outside of a handful of Steam games, you have to go buy a PlayStation, right? You go to the store, you pick up a box, and you take it home. You could still do that with Xbox, but the messaging was so convoluted over this whole generation was so convoluted at that point, is that people were just like, well, what do I need it for? And then when they went third party, then they really didn't have to go get it anymore. They're like, well, what the hell? I got to just go play it on my... Why buy two consoles when I can play them all on one? So now you could play your day one PlayStation on one, your Xbox on day one, your third party on day one. And so therefore it's like, well, that was financially prudent. Who the hell needs an Xbox? I already got an Xbox. It's called a PlayStation. Yeah,
and we always said, right? Or at least I always said, the only thing you're losing with games going multi-plat is the bragging rights of the console war. But there is more nuance to that, right? There's more nuance.
There's more, yeah.
Somebody feels like they were on a team, like in a community, and everyone had like this expectation of how they played or what they were playing, and their associates were playing some of the same games, their friends. And then when that starts to change, you feel like I'm on this team that doesn't care about me and my experience.
No.
It shouldn't really affect you, but I guess we're tribalistic by nature, right? We want to be on a team and rally around something.
Understood. Understood, Colt. But here's the other thing. The other thing is that, once again, if you offer one access point or at least 1.5 access points to be able to get a product, and you have a killer product or a killer IP that everybody needs to play, like you want to go back to like Halo 2, you want to go back to Halo 3, you want to go back to Mass Effect, you were only able to get that in one place.
Yeah.
It sure as hell wasn't a PlayStation, and it sure as hell wasn't a PC or Nintendo. You had to go out to the store and buy a goddamn Xbox to do it. Well, they've shot themselves in the foot so many times with mediocre shit games, this, generally speaking, for this whole generation, and then you come out and you do this, and then you're saying that you don't need to sell the product anymore, you don't need the box anymore. You did it to yourself. You did it to yourself. And now you've got two people leaving the door and they dumped it at her feet. And then when people saying, are you bringing exclusives back? It's impossible now. You've opened that Pandora's box. It cannot be turned around. It's never going to happen. There won't even be timed exclusivity. Satya called that shot. Amy Hood called that shot. Ain't no Asha coming in there to change all that. It's never going to happen. So when she said, hear you, all she's saying is, well, I heard what you said.
Are you ready for nothing. You ready for a crazy conspiracy?
You played yourself. That's right, Jean-Claude. Carry on, brother.
What if Asha and Satya have been mulling over the idea to offload ABK and get rid of it and sell it?
Absolutely. I would.
Let me tell you. Hold on.
I watched your video, Colt. Sorry.
I didn't say that in the video, but I know what you're getting at.
No, you didn't.
Let me set the stage.
You didn't.
Because this is something I talked about before the show, so not in the video. What if they said we can get 60 billion for ABK right now? We paid almost 80 or 70, right? Let's offload it for 60 billion. Satya's like, I can use that cash to invest in AI, and we'll no longer have this monkey on our back. For the Xbox division, with this very expensive, high risk, high reward, sometimes low reward for revenue and profits. They would lose things like the World of Warcraft and an Overwatch money generator, and they would lose Candy Crush and Call of Duty. But one of the options is for them to yank Call of Duty from Game Pass and allow it to be actually purchased outside of Game Pass. What if a very viable option, I don't even want to say it out loud, but I'm going to say it. It's going to hurt. Sell off ABK and start canceling PlayStation ports and say, this is where you play Xbox games first and foremost. And then they'll launch not long after on PlayStation. A 3 to 6 month window where they launch first. If you want to play Fable, it's not on PlayStation anymore. If you want to play Fable, it's on Xbox Series S and X. It's on cloud on every single device that supports Xbox Cloud Gaming. It's on Game Pass on console, on Xbox, and it's on Steam, and it's on PC Game Pass, which I've always said for many years before they went multi-platform, their games are available to over half the planet. They're basically, I would say, even years ago, I would say, Xbox games are available to everyone except for PlayStation only fans. Now, I never said Nintendo because Nintendo typically at that time wouldn't get anyone else's games, like Ubisoft, Capcom, like those were very far and few between, but that's starting to change. What if they got rid of that monkey on their back and they said, let's bring it back and bring Xbox back to, we now have all these great games. The problem with that option is that their consoles are so cost prohibitive. $600 for a basic series, or $630, whatever it is for a basic Series X, is asinine and makes it counterproductive to say, we only have 30 million customers on Xbox Series consoles. Let's try to only sell to them. Because I said in my video, which I think you're going to quote, why would they do that? I think they would go bankrupt. But a friend of mine said if they got rid of ABK, it would take a ton of pressure off of a growing boil on their arm. What are your thoughts, Mag? That's psychotic.
No, it's half psychotic. I'll give you. It's half. Getting rid of ABK would probably be a wise decision. That would be something that it's not paying back what they've put in, what they had to pay out for, and that would be something that would have to happen over many several years in order to get that all back and whatever. It's not. It's a little more complicated than just, well, we spent $70 billion and it made made $30 billion. Therefore, in 2.5 years, we'll get our money back. That's not how it works. So, like, I'm not talking about for you. I'm talking about like the general public thinking that. That's not how it works. I would get rid of ABK. As for exclusivity, that's a death knell. I mean, they're already whatever. It already is what it is, but that would be a death blow, because what would happen at that point, PlayStation players would just move on. So if you block access for 3 to 6 months from, like, I don't know, whatever, Fable, this and that, some will stick around. Like, you get your Forza Horizons. Look at Forza Horizon, came out 4 years later. But the thing is, there was no promise 4 years ago it was coming out on PlayStation. It's not like they said, oh, by the way, you can only get this on Xbox in 2021. Oh, by the way, in 4 years, PlayStation players can get it. That's what PlayStation
we don't get
players
that
would be
game.
like, oh, I'll wait 4 years.
Yeah.
But when it got on there, it was the novelty of being able to buy a stellar racing title that was only available on Xbox and PC that got a lot of hype in there. And of course, it also helps that Forza Horizon is an outstanding series. Like we talked about at the beginning of the show, Colt, we talked about how quality trumps all when it comes to anything. People will seek out your product if it is top quality. And that's the way I see that. Now, if you start doing that for 3 to 6 months or whatever with a lot of these games, people will forget them and just move on. And they'll just be like, oh, I'll get to it when I get to it. And then they don't. And then they don't even bother going back to it. Look at what's been happening when they've been dropping these games sort of haphazardly that used to be just on Xbox. And you got your Indiana Jones out there, your Avowed, your Outer Worlds 2. They're not doing well. Indy Jones did okay. Indy Jones did okay. But the other two bombed. Oh, as well as other games. They're just sprinkling games over there like, yeah, here's another one, here's another one, here's another one. And they're not doing well. And they're not doing well because people like...
We'll say things like nobody, but you guys know what I mean. Like, not a lot of people bought Ninja Gaiden, Tony Hawk 3 and 4, Doom the Dark Ages, Avowed, Outer Worlds 2, Gears Reloaded. There's 6 games. Oblivion Remastered did really well. And on the other side, I don't think Expedition 33 increased Game Pass subscriptions significantly. So what I think is happening is there's 30 million Game Pass subscribers, and the Game Pass is not growing. So what it's doing is it's making them $1 billion a year in profit. But now you've got these Game Pass subscribers that won't unsub and aren't being added to. And when Xbox puts out 6 to 12 games a year, those, we'll say, leeches are just playing the game on the sub that they'll never unsub from because they see a great value in it. So what happens is the Game Pass number doesn't really go up. It continually makes its profit and revenue. And then when you go to look at how many copies did you sell on Doom the Dark Ages or Outer Worlds 2, and they're like, not very many. So then they throw it onto PlayStation, and they're able to sell maybe as many as they would hope they would if Game Pass didn't exist on the Xbox. So they kind of can have their cake and eat it too. But Asha Sharma has to be looking at, how can we make that change? And shout out to 1,000 people who are watching the show. There's not been a lot of times where Mag and I have been here together with such an awesome audience. Appreciate all your support. I got to say something really quickly about Asha Sharma, because we're going to get into her specifically right now. There are a couple of, there's like 3 or 4 words that are used to describe her when people are angry about the changes. One of them is a DEI hire. The other is that she's woke. The other one is that she's Indian, and the other one is that she's a woman. So it can be fairly assumed that Microsoft does use some sort of priority level for hiring and promoting women within, and they also obviously promote and hire males within, because we're seeing that. We'll talk about some people that she brought on herself who are not females. I just don't want people to be disrespectful, because it's 2026. She was born in Wisconsin. Like, I don't care where someone's family lineage comes from. Make fun of me for being Norwegian, but keep it on topic. We'll absolutely listen to everything you guys have to say. Don't go for the low-hanging fruit. Let's really dive into what sucks and what's great about Asha Sharma, what we can look forward to, what we don't like. Like, if you don't like the AI background, let's dig into it. Let's talk about it, because that's a real thing that we have to address as gamers. Appreciate it. Meg, let's talk about Asha Sharma. What do you know about her?
She's really hot.
Meg definitely has a type. She's been a CEO a couple times. So what do you know about her?
CEO a couple of times. Well, her last job, she's been with Microsoft for a couple of years now at least, and she was she was the CEO of Core AI, right? 2 years. Okay, there you go. And she was the CEO of Core AI, part of working on there, and then of course what ended up happening? She is hot, man. Okay, I like Indian chicks too. That's a thing for me. Gingers and Indian girls, but they got to be hot Indian girls, obviously, not just.
I mean, let's be honest, Mag. You're not that picky. I mean, if I put a wig on, I might get some little.
What? Jeez, Colt, take it easy, man. I'm not that easy. My God, you got to wine and dine me a little bit.
I'll take you out for a burger.
She also worked for Instacart before, right? I think it was before she ended up at Microsoft.
Yeah.
And now beyond that, I didn't go through her whole LinkedIn profile. I don't know her history. It's like, well, she loves long walks on the beach, and in 2011, she threw up in the back of her friend's car after a night at the club. Like, there's some people out there that know her whole life story. I'm like, I really don't care that much. You're just an employee. You're making a product that I want to buy. Do you think I care about what the mechanic did before he was, you know what I mean? The 5 years before he's fixing my car? Just fix the car. I'm giving you the money, fix the car.
What about
Asha, you're in the job? Go do a good job. Release good games, and that's it.
Let's have a little fun and talk about our gamer cred real quick, Mag. Did you see some of that? Yes. Some of the gamer cred stuff happening? Because I kind of tracked a lot of it that everyone was doing.
Go, talk about it.
So she basically... Satya's wanted to bring her in for quite a while, and all these things kind of lead back to at least a month. She was told to start getting to know Xbox, and I will tell you, and other people smarter than I have said, you don't have to be a gamer to run this business. Strauss Zelnick doesn't know how to play games, and he's running Take-Two amazingly. But that's not an excuse, right? I don't want to use that as an excuse. But somebody told her, you need to get familiar with the product that you are going to be helming. So she went on Xbox, made a profile 10 months ago. She dabbled this weekend, got one achievement in Borderlands 2, which I love Borderlands 2 to death, but you load that game up now, it is dusty. It's super dusty. She, the night she got hired, or the night it announced, her and Phil and one of the coworkers who I've talked to before were in a party chat playing Halo Infinite all evening, which I thought was interesting. I'm like, oh, she's getting to know the product that she's going to be repping. And I don't think she's doing that to get gamer cred. I think that she's taking some of her free time to at least know what the fudge Xbox is about and what is available and what the gaming life is going to be like, because she's going to have to listen to Matt Booty, who is the head of studios or ahead of Xbox, the CFO. She's going to have to listen to Craig Duncan, the head of Xbox Game Studios, and Jason Ronald, the Gandalf, the head of hardware. Right, Meg? Like, she's going to have to listen to that and know what the heck they're talking about. And playing games is just a little bit of a knuckle breaker. What was your opinion on that? Or her jumping into that on the Xbox Live?
Well, yeah, you have to know the business. I think it was longer than a month. I think it was way longer than that. That if they start eyeballing you for a position, it starts happening months and months and months before anything happens. Like, listen, start brushing up on this, that, and the other. Yeah, you're going to have to make decisions in a business that you don't know anything about. However, at the same time, just like they were saying, even if you have no history with the job, the thing is, if they lay out parameters of what they're looking for, then it doesn't matter if you have a history with it. And by the way, don't twist this as like defending anything. I'm really not. I'm just telling you like it is. So, for example, if seeing that it's actually Satya and Amy Hood that are calling the shots, not Asha Sharma. By the way, I just like to point out, I've almost called her shawarma like 8 times during the show.
Yeah,
it's so close. But
it's because that's a word we're used to actually saying. Sharma is not it's not something that's in my vocabulary. But yeah, I've worked on it really hard. I called her Asha the first video, so you learn. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. And the thing is at the end of the day, she's literally taking direction from Satya and Amy Hood. That's it. All right. And that they're the boss. They're the ones calling the shots for Xbox, not her. And they're going to say, this is what we want accomplished. Come to the table and tell us how you'd like to tackle that. That's what she brings to the table. So she could take her experience and say, well, I want to do this, 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 and this. And then they come to it, and then they meet halfway. And then Satya will sit down and say, okay, I like points, out of your 8 points, I like points 3, 5, and 7. Let's do those. The other ones, you're still doing what we say because you still have to fit in this. You have to fit in this. It's like, for example, like when I used to run large departments for corporations, they say, this is what has to be done. This is the final product. How you get there, you tell me your game plan. We'll see if this works out. Then on top of that, what they do is that they say that, okay, well now, these are your ideas? Cool. Can you make that happen with $30,000 a week?
Yeah.
Right. And then you're going, well, crap. No, I can't. And they're like, well, then you have to rework it so that you still fit under the $30,000 a week or whatever the hell. You know what I mean? Just throwing out numbers. So she can have all these lofty ideas, but if they don't fit within Amy Hood's business model and Satya's business model, they're going to say, very cute idea. We like it, but you're going to have to reorganize it and make it fit in the parameters that we have set out for you. So it's never going to be exactly what you want. I see people, and hey, God bless them, the sweet summer children out there who says, oh, she's going to do this. She's going to do this. She's going to do this. And I'm like, no, she's not. And it's like, she's going to show up at my house with an umbrella and fly down like Mary Poppins and start singing, a spoonful of sugar makes the cinnamon go down, or whatever the hell is it.
Medicine.
A spoonful of cinnamon makes the medicine go down, whatever the stupid song is.
It's
not going to do anything.
She does the cinnamon. You got Mary Poppins doing the cinnamon challenge. Yeah. No.
Can you imagine?
That'd be
Sorry,
awesome.
I totally screwed up the lyrics. I don't know Mary Poppins that well. But anyways, the point is that she still has to follow the parameters of her CEO bosses. And therefore, all these lofty ideas will 100% do not fit within that model. So she still has to work within that. Therefore, I'm giving her one. She got a chance to do it, and she go, "Listen, man, I don't really care. I don't have any dog in this fight whatsoever. It's not like we should care. What we should care about as consumers and the 1,000 people watching the show and the thousands watching after, you know what we should be concerned about? Concerned about getting affordable hardware and great video games. Who cares about how they're doing it, whatever else? They're going to lay off lots of people. That's coming. And you know what they're going to do it under? They're going to do it under the guise of, well, we're fixing Xbox. So everybody's going to think, oh, well, they're doing such a great job as they lay off another 20,000 people. And that's going to happen. They're going to sell studios. They're going to tighten the belt. They're going to say, listen, man, if you're not part of this, like, look at what Sarah was talking about before she got fired, is that what she talked about was they're going to start focusing on the bigger games, right? They're going to focus on the guaranteed money maker. Right, the moneymaker games. I almost feel like now that I'm thinking about it, I'm sort of the stream of conscious right now. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking that they don't sell all of ABK. I think they just start shredding off all the ABK that's basically just dead weight. So think about you're hanging from the side of a cliff and you got like the 3 or 4 guys that are weighing everybody down. You just like saw them off and then they fall so that you could they'll cut off the 2 or 3, 4 studios that aren't pulling their weight, and they'll keep the cores. They'll keep your World of Warcraft, your that stupid shooter with the people with the blue hair. What's Overwatch and Call of Duty. That's it. You know what I'm saying?
I've heard that Microsoft
Toys for Bob. Get out of here. What have you done?
Well, I mean, they let them go without closing them. We'll talk about that. I'll cover that right now. I've heard Microsoft doesn't want to close studios because the optics of that are not worth the money saving.
Oh, they'll do it. Do it.
What is more likely?
They don't care about that.
What is more likely is that Asha will be looking at the suite of studios because there definitely is sort of some dead weight. And I'll just sound rude so I can get the point across because I think this is where the truth kind of directs. That there are some studios that have not made a lot of money and have been expensive. Like Double Fine is not selling a lot of product. And so I think Asha will be looking at studios to give independence to and let them go. Like, hey, we no longer need you in Xbox Game Studios. We're letting you buy your independence and you can go and be an independent studio, or you can shop around like they did with Tango Gameworks. The problem is with Tango is they did it so quickly. They tried, that's a history lesson, but they tried to get somebody to buy Tango so they wouldn't have to close them, but the timing didn't, and the greed and everything, it didn't work out. But it is more likely that Asha is going to look at this suite of studios and try and figure out who needs to be removed from the suite instead of closing them, just giving their independence back. So I said it twice. So the sure thing is what they need to look at. The other thing I want to say is Asha Sharma is not, as far as we know, she's not a CEO that was brought in to helm a company to whittle them down and make them a lean, green, efficient machine. I don't know anything about that. Like if she had a history of like Instacart brought her in to kind of trim the fat and I guess they're supposed to make sure they maximize revenue and profits, but I haven't heard anything about her coming in and just gutting things so that all the sure money could be there. But that's definitely something she's probably going to do. So we're going to talk about Game Pass, the console, and the games. What are you telling me, Mag? Okay. What do you know?
No, I was going to say, I'm telling you that's exactly what they do. And the reason why they can get away with it at the beginning of a regime change is that they can blame it on the regime change immediately. And they're saying, well, this is the new direction, and therefore, and they use that as a scapegoat.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the real scapegoat. The real scapegoat is, all right, we got a new regime, new policies, new future. And then they go, and then now we're going to fire 20,000 people and get rid of a bunch of studios, or even just be gentle about it and say, listen, you can buy your independence. Hopefully someone buys you. We're putting you on the market for sale. Right.
Yeah.
We're throwing you in the front of the house for the garage sale. So someone can pick up whatever remnants of studios that aren't doing anything or just not making enough money. So they can absolutely do that. And by doing that, everybody is so blinded like this. Everybody's going, well, it's the new future. It's the new future. They don't see that they're doing all that. So they mask it behind, corporate fluffy words that make people warm and fuzzy inside, like new future, better promises of tomorrow, basically like a politician. They're all full of crap. So like, it's the same idea here. So they will do that. And so I bet you any money, Colt, I bet you any money that they've been waiting for their moment for the last 2 years to find an opportunity to be able to do that and basically just purge all the dead weight and trim the fat, so to speak. And now that they've got that opportunity, they got rid of Phil, they got rid of Sarah, and now they're going to start canning all the studios, or in one way or another. I'm not saying they're going to fire them all. I'm just saying in one way or another, they're going to start getting rid of all those studios. That this is the excuse they needed. That's the best word I can think of. It's the excuse they needed in order to do this, to move forward. I'm telling you right now.
Okay.
That's just the way I see it. And I don't really care. I care. I don't want to see people lose their jobs and all that kind of stuff. It's really hard out there and whatever else. And it is. It really is. Then that's where there's a possibility. I know that, like a whole reset, Infernal Earth. Exactly, brother. That's exactly what I'm trying to get at here. And the other thing is you got to think about is there still is an AI angle. Everybody seems to be tiptoeing around the AI angle that... And I'm like, listen, man, that's still going to be a realistic future where AI is taking a lot of people's jobs. And they got someone in that position who literally ran the AI department for that corporation. So, like, come on. You don't need to be Sherlock Holmes to figure out that this is where it's probably heading. So there is a little bit of that. I know what she said, though. She said games are art form and made by humans and this and that. Okay. So you wouldn't be lying by saying that, well, now the studio from 800 is now only 200. You could still be made by humans, you know what I mean? But like, you could still get away with things like that. It's all corporate. It's all corporate speak. Don't believe any of it, folks. Don't believe any of it. Sorry, I have to be the guy. I have to be the guy.
Yeah,
don't believe them.
I'm looking for my my studio's graphic to put on the screen. I just finished updating it. I was going to make a whole video about the future of Xbox over the weekend, and then this happened. That's so strange.
That's a crazy gamer. CEOs aren't human anymore. They're not.
No, They're not. I mean, when I talk about Asha, like what are her intentions or what has she done in the past? Her job is not to know everything about gaming. Like these CEOs, normally they're there because they know how to work with the chessboard. And I work in a place where the people that run at the top level at my job, they work their way up. They learn about engineering and construction and design and all these other things. And they know everything about what it takes to run that department. And so they become like the leader. But this isn't what it's like in corporate America. You bring in someone to take over a company that knows how to work with thousands of people and work with IPs and ownership and partnerships and maximize profit potential. And I think that's what she's supposed to do. Maybe her job at Instacart was a stellar tenure of time and And her core AI thing, like she talked about AI.
She has a good history. She has a history of success.
But
so
she
that
also,
that's another reason why.
Yeah, and she also said we need to make sure that games are made by humans and we're not just dumping AI slop. And of course, a PR person told her to say that because you need to tell people straight up that AI is going to be used to steal jobs, not give you crap games to play that are made by a soulless husk of an algorithm and C-Dance 2.7 or whatever. So it's a good thing that she said that, but she has a lot to, I'm not going to put that studio graphic up. I can't find it. So yeah, she has a lot to put forth and actually do. So she also brought on Craig Sincadas, who is a Xbox veteran, and I haven't looked him up other than I looked up his, let me see what this guy looks like. That's an old guy who likes to golf. I mean, he sounds like, let me see if I can find a picture of him. I don't think there's a picture of him in the article. Let's go to Google Images, shall we? He's a token white guy. He's just your typical 30-some, 40-year-old white dude who used to work with her at Porch, but also has almost a combined, I can't believe I said, I don't care anymore. It's like, we need to not be so, I'm white, all right? I don't care anymore. We're just being brash here. He's been with Xbox for almost a combined 14 years. He started in 06 in the middle of the Xbox 360 gen. He's been in marketing with the Xbox team for a while. And one of my buddies called me, goes, she brought on one of her like AI conglomerate people to come in and do her bidding in AI for Microsoft. And I'm like, let me look up this guy. No, he was actually knows a lot about the gaming division. And so she brought him on as a chief of staff. I don't know what that means in Xbox, like even Windows Central Jez Corden's articles, like it's kind of hard to describe what they do for chief of staff in the Microsoft division, but he's one person who will be working with her every single day that can say, hey, Asha, in the gaming industry, this is typically what hits, or this is what people expect. And those are super important things to have in your ear when you're taking over something that Phil literally built for 40 years in the brand. So that's Craig Sincadas. Let's talk about, let me grab a couple supers here, a couple questions. You guys are amazing. Hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. Mag and I are working as hard as we can to give you all of the discussion and information without wasting your time. We do tend to go on tangents, but hey, we're old. It's great. Let me start with some of the things. Polybaba, thank you for the 2. Goes, still laughing at Mag's Stephen Hawking reference.
I'm still laughing about the daiquiri shoved in his armpit. Hey man, whatever.
You got to get the straw in the armpit.
Sometimes comedy is inappropriate. That's part of the game, all right? You want to do some funny stuff. You got to say some outlandish things. Why do you think they don't allow them to film them anymore?
The best comedy, I think, is the one that toes the line. But there's certain comedy or certain shows I don't like because they can say whatever they want. But when you can ride that line before somebody wants to slap you, then you're having a good laugh. We got Neil Gushwal. Thank you so much for the $5 super. Says, the last great game they really promoted and I saw everywhere was Halo 2. Oh my gosh, he's like talking 04. Since then, a commercial maybe for everything else. I don't know. I mean, do you see Xbox being on TV?
Xbox pushed back in those days when they really had like some solid advertising was, you could say Halo 2, Halo 3. Halo 3 was amazing. That commercial with the old guy in the museum. Remember that in the museum, and like he's walking around, and then the little kid comes up and he's like, he's like, well, look at that or whatever. And then the guy goes back into his memory about the final war from like Halo 3 and stuff like that. And he was there. Okay. He was a veteran. Oh, yes, really cool.
Yes.
You remember that one? That was really cool. Great commercial. And the thing is, and you know what great advertising is that 20 years later, I still remember that commercial, which means you did your job.
And they hired
Gears of War.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
With the Cruel, Cruel World, or whatever the hell it was,
yep.
That song. Okay, they did that one. People still remember that 20 years later. Why? Because it was effective marketing. Can't think of what decade Xbox had effective marketing beyond that.
No,
so he's not wrong.
They hired Neil Blomkamp
to do
the trailer for Halo 3, I think, or Halo ODST. I can't remember which one it was. But the guy who did District 9 and was supposed to help. What did Magnum say? You forgot about that. everything's an
forgot
Xbox
about
ad.
the awesome everything is an Xbox ad. That was brilliant marketing.
I mean, everyone remembers the baby shooting out of the mom's legs and the naked dude flying across the planet.
That's right.
And then slamming
the old
into
man
a
landed in the grave.
Yeah, classic.
That was
iconic
great.
stuff.
And you know what? When was the last time they had effective marketing? Never mind Matt Booty. I see Matt Booty's name in the chat 1,000 times tonight. Everybody's talking about Matt Booty. Where the hell is Greenberg? How does that guy continuously just stay there? I don't know, man. Anyway, sorry. He's a nice guy from what I heard.
He's really nice. If I worked in a marketing place for something like Xbox, I would be shooting for the GD moon. Like, I would say, let's bring on this person to make this commercial. Let's get out in front of stuff on TVs. Like, why aren't we putting?
Get me there.
Is it too expensive to make a video game trailer at a movie theater? Like, I can't tell you.
No, it's not.
I go to the movies, Meg, and I'll see like 4 trailers, and 2 of them are cool. If one of those was like, can you imagine if you're sitting and there was a Fable trailer for 38 seconds for a video game, and you got half of the people were like, what the crap is this? What is a video game? It might actually kind of turn people into like,
dude, they used to show PlayStation games, the big ones, in the theaters all the time.
Yeah,
as
they don't anymore.
You'd see I don't go to the movie theaters that often, so I can't really say for certain. But now it's all car commercials, and then they do a few trailers for movies, and they go in the movies. But they used to do some video game trailers, like when the games, like the end of PS4 gen, in the beginning of PS5. They used to be in the theaters. All right.
Yeah,
I mean, Sony is part of Sony Pictures. I mean, they own Sony Pictures, for Christ's sake. So it's pretty easy for them to make distribution deals with the movie theaters, because they own a Hollywood studio, for crying out loud, and they own an animation studio, Sony Animation. So it's easier for them because they know all the contacts. They get in there like, listen, man, Spider-Man 2, the game, put it in front of whatever, whatever Marvel movies coming out, or this and that. They work out all these deals, right? But there's no need. I mean, there's no reason. Excuse me. There's no reason why Xbox can't be doing this. And people say, oh, well, maybe they don't have the budget. Well, the guy's got a job, don't he? If the guy's got a job and then he has some kind of a budget, go out and do some. Dude, I will do it. I will do it for whatever. I will take it to Mordor. I will take it. I will take it to Mordor. Then Colt can show up with his little.
You can't keep doing the same thing and expecting the brand to grow. Glinster with the 2 says, "Will Asha's AI focus cause a flood of layoffs? Layoffs are coming either way." Meg, you've been saying this a lot, that AI will eventually. I think Asha's trying to tell us. I mean, she did make a statement that they're going to use AI for the work behind the scenes. But they're also going to, let me see here. Mag, just tell me when you come back. I will. I better not mess it up. The AI thing is going to cause layoffs for sure. But they're supposed to be doing AI in the background for programming and all that procedural crap. And then they will not be, you don't see it. If you watch my video today, I generated 6 seconds of Gears of War gameplay in Grok AI, and it's hilariously dumb looking to make a point. But go check out my video. BT Maverick says, thanks again for taking all the attention off Blue Point, Herman Holtz, and the fires going on at PlayStation. Sadly, more studio closures coming. I understand that when it comes to Xbox versus PlayStation, everyone's like, what about Blue Point? They didn't have to take their lumps. And I'm like, I mean, this is a big deal. 70 people lost their jobs at PlayStation. Phil Spencer and Sarah Vaughn, the face of Xbox, got told to go.
70 lost their jobs, but most of them were rehired within the studio. So actually, I think it was about 23 jobs were lost in total. So it actually was. I mean, I've seen more people get laid off at the Tim Hortons up the road from me than I've seen out of Blue Point. So at the end of it, most of them got their jobs back. It's just they dissolved the studio, which is still a stupid decision to begin with.
Yeah.
Sorry, I blew my nose. So like I blew my ears out. You know when you blow your eardrums out?
Yep. Yep.
And like now I'm having trouble hearing. So sorry about that. Not that everybody needs.
I'll talk louder.
That's super chat. That's super chat with the hot dog.
We got Chill Hill Productions. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Appreciate all of your guys' support. Thanks for being here. Hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. Got a couple questions. We're getting back into Asha and the future of Xbox. He says, what if Asha and Satya are secret lovers? Well, that was worth reading. I mean, he's like 30 years older than her. So, yeah, maybe. It's
That
me, the
means
broke boy.
nothing.
Yeah. It's me, the broke boy. Thanks to the 2 says Xbox financial ABK would tank, Colt. You might be right because they bring a ton of money in there, but
they also cost a ton of money.
Yeah.
They cost a ton of money. So what I think they could do, as Colt and I were sort of doing the show, at first my thoughts were get rid of them entirely. Now my thought is this. Exactly. Bill Belichick. Thank you, Dova. So the thing is, I would reform ABK and get rid of a bunch of it. Just get rid of a whole bunch of it that's not pulling its weight. Cut the studio. I'm not saying to do that. I'm saying that if you were to do anything, that's what I would do.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of nuance to ABK. Most of it makes the Call of Duty machine, and the rest is busy with World of Warcraft and Overwatch. And like they're all busy making stuff that actually makes money. That's the problem. And
they'll find a way.
Maybe they're not worth as much as they were when they purchased them, but taking that financial burden off of Xbox as a division might make a difference. But it's just a thought idea. Glizzner, thanks for the 2 goes. You hit 1,000 watchers. What's your record? Believe it or not, 3,500 views live was the record. Gaz and I were streaming the Xbox Developer Direct a couple of years ago, and thousands of people thought we were the official show because we had the screen full screen and we were really small in the corner, and people were like, why is there talking going on in here? And they thought they were on the official because my title was like very similar to Xbox's. But we've had around 1,000, but we'd like to get back up to 1,000 as we talk about more of this. But I know how there's a lot to cover.
The biggest show that I was on here, we were at I think we were at like 1,600 live. Around 1,600 live was the biggest show that I've been a part of on this show.
That was probably February of 2024 when the Xbox business update was going on. I remember it happened on Sunday.
The Project Latitude and all that kind of stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
We had a lot to say. That's when things were really getting wild.
Yep. Matthew Millar, thank you so much for the 5. Say again.
No, I was saying hello to somebody in the chat. Sorry.
Okay. And hello as well. Matthew Millamar, 9684 says, I bet Game Pass is gone or completely overhauled, tiers with no first party day one. We'll talk about that. Let me have
that's
a couple more here. Yeah, that is interesting. And we'll tackle that one, Mag. Eastside 49er, thank you for the 10. Says, should have kept the Xbox 360 model, exclusives on the box, then a year later push it to PC. Once they attached themselves to PC day and date, that was the beginning of the end, diluted the brand. Yeah, partially. They also...
I agree with that statement.
Yeah, it was the Band-Aid that saved them because hardly anybody was buying Xbox Ones, and they had games that needed to be bought from consumers. Scott Gamer Dude, 3471, thanks for the 5, says, I'll be honest, I'm a little concerned. It will become too corporate, no rep for us consumers. That's true. Like Phil Spencer brought a level of, I'm a fellow gamer. Hello, fellow young people.
Yeah, that's all I can think of is Steve Buscemi. Hello, fellow children, or whatever.
Yeah, fellow. What is it? Fellow kids, or I can't remember what it was. Fellow youth.
Yeah,
we understand that, right? Phil Spencer felt like he spoke for us as the gaming fans, and now he's gone. So yes, it will be very, very corporate. But you know what? You know who's very, very super corporate and super successful, Mag?
I know exactly who.
Say it.
Yeah, Nintendo and PlayStation.
Yeah. Do they have somebody
who's
like,
they're very corporate.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no, like you didn't have Yoshida 10 years ago walking around going, hello, fellow gamers. Like they didn't do that. They were never in the spotlight. You barely knew who they were. They did their things, and I'm not saying they're bad people. They were great people. They just didn't do all that front face forwarding nonsense. Like people were collecting like Xbox executive playing cards with a little pack of gum inside, and they're like, oh, I got a Phil Spencer. I'm like, oh, I got 2 of those. You want to trade one Phil Spencer for a Sarah Bond? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
what's up? Stupid. What's up, gamers? You guys ready to go to Tomato Town and get a victory royale? Hello? Anyone?
Yeah. Okay, you know what? Okay, fair enough. NC's not wrong. NC in the chat says Reggie kind of was. He kind of was. Yeah, Reggie was cool as balls. He was hilarious.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, he leaned into it a little bit, and he was funny. But apparently behind closed doors, he was a hard ass. Like, I mean, he really was like, Like, it's like, get to work. Yeah, it was one of those things. It's like,
Yeah.
we're here to work and whatever. And he would have fun outside of it. But apparently he was a tough cookie to work for. So just saying.
I mean, maybe those days are gone. Maybe those days of your buddy helping you run the gaming company is, you know.
Dude, do you know who owns Google? Like, do you know who the guy who runs Google? Or the guy who runs that? I mean, of course, what's his name? Wonky Eyes there from Amazon. He's no longer part of there. But like, you know what I mean? Like, those guys don't care. Nobody knows. You know what I mean? Just really listen. We're not their friends, and they're not our friends.
Well,
they're here to give us a bloody product. Okay?
Asha
That's
Sharma.
it.
Asha Sharma followed me the day that she took the spot. So she's my buddy.
You effing shill.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys want to quote something? Quote that.
Yep. Quote it. Do it.
Clip that.
Magnum says smash the like button. And when Magnum
follow
speaks,
me, I'll tell you that much.
Well, hey, maybe I'll check. Maybe tonight she follows you. Hey, maybe she's watching.
Never know. You know, I'll tell you this. She wants to take me to one of those Michelin-style restaurants. Nice one. On Satya's tab, obviously. Not mine. I'm not paying for that. She could pay for that. And we're going to go out. We're going to talk. And she's going to give me the job as the marketing director.
Are you going to
say
not
romantic? Not romantic. No romantic. I'm married with two children.
As you're cutting your steak, I've always had a thing for Indian women.
Listen, I do, but that doesn't mean I'm going to do anything. I know. You know, business and pleasure do not mix. I'm married with two children, okay, and I love my family and I love my wife.
That's not what you told me.
You're giving me that marketing job. You're giving me the marketing job. You know why? Because I'm going to tell it like it is. I'm going to tell it like it is. Not everybody else there is going to lie to your face, kiss your ass, all this. I'm not going to kiss nothing. I'll tell you exactly like it is, whether you like it or not, and even if it cost me my job. But at least you got the truth for once.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that.
We'll find out.
Chill Hill Pro, thank you for the $20 super. Says, guaranteed Asha and Satya are super secret friends.
Oh my God, he won't let it go.
You guys. You guys. Grandpa's Barbecue Game Cat with the Australian 2 says, why no talk about the Booty promotion madness? I don't really have a lot to say about Matt Booty. He was pushed up to be the... Well, I really can't tell you where that line's in. I didn't really look at much of it, but I can tell you, people are like, why is Matt Booty still here? What has he done? He shipped a lot of games. And the problem with them not being popular isn't really his fault, but they've kind of been pretty good quality. And I have this very famous PlayStation first party versus Xbox first party graphic where Xbox has a 1 to 1.5% lead over PlayStation with the same amount of games. So I'm like, he's doing everything he can to give you quality games. It's just Xbox or PlayStation makes games that are just way more popular. That's the one thing they need to work on. I talked about that in today's video I put out. Check it out. Let's see. We got a couple more. Ocarina Hero says, here's the $1 million question. How is Matt Booty still here? Which that's the one I saw. I appreciate you with the 5. We'll get into that a little more. 78 Incorporated, thank you for the 10. Says, what's up, my brothers? In my opinion, if Microsoft sells ABK, Tencent will come in and scoop them. Absolutely, I agree, 78. He says, then kill more games. Thoughts? I don't think there's really any games to kill at ABK.
There'd be a lot of pushback because of the Chinese and the Americans. They could invest in it, but you know what they'll do? They'll do it under the guise of somebody else buying them, like for example, the Saudis. You can get the Saudis involved. They could put the money in there, and then you could get Tencent to invest 10% on top of that, and that's the way you could get around the U.S. government and the Chinese government kind of button heads over ABK for a company like that. So you could find ways around it. Like I said, there are corporate workarounds, and that's something that I worked on for several years, is the corporate workaround of just being able to say, well, we're not allowed to do this, so we'll find a way. And that's the way you would do it. Yeah. And that's, of course, theoretical. I don't think that they would sell ABK. I just think they'll shave it down. But sell it, no. I think they will keep the core key products, but they're going to have to focus on the quality. Because if you look at something like, for example, Call of Duty that just came out this year, that's supposed to be their giant cash cow that makes them all the money, whatever. But if you come out with a crappy product that people don't want to play, well, then people are not going to buy it. So you best go back to the Xbox 360, PS3 Call of Duty days and start having those kind of modern warfares. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you get to those kind of things, they sell billions.
They have 3 main studios that make it Call of Duty, right? Sledgehammer,
yes.
Raven, and
isn't Raven Infinity. A support team?
What are the three? Anyway, I'll just get to the point is that they need to cut out one of those. And what I mean by cut that out is say, we're going to try to put out Call of Duty every year. They should kind of do the Assassin's Creed thing. Have those teams work together to try and make a Call of Duty every year, maybe every other year, which will give you a better product, because they're always rushing on this leapfrog thing. And it's a problem with the recent one, because last year's was amazing. We already covered it. Chill Hill Productions, thank you so much for the 2, says Copilot, quote, Copilot makes games that feel like they're human made. Nah, they don't. Copilot's not good enough yet. Grandpa's Barbecue's Game Cat, thanks for the Australian 2, says, does anyone really care? 5 years and Skynet arrives? Probably. Andy Hart, thanks for the 5. Didn't Xbox used to have to deal with the NFL? I remember they all used the Microsoft Surface tablets, and they didn't have a sponsorship deal with Seattle Seahawks. I mean, Meg, you said this. Why are the Mariners having
why are the Seattle Mariners? Yeah.
Go ahead.
During the American League Championship Series last year, Toronto is playing Seattle.
The whole
I'm
season.
watching the games, obviously.
The whole season.
And I'm watching it, and I'm like, how is it? And this is where the marketing once again gets a 0 out of 10. Xbox gets a 0 out of 10 for marketing. Seattle is literally based in the exact location of the headquarters of Microsoft, and they're wearing Nintendo Switch 2 bands on their jerseys.
Which
at the
also
ALCS.
Nintendo is in their backyard, but yeah, good point, man.
But dude, Nintendo's still a Japanese company. Microsoft is a homegrown American company based out of Seattle, for Christ's sake. And you've got the Seattle Mariners wearing Switch 2 bands on their arm. What are we talking about here? I remember I called you in the middle of the baseball game, and I'm like, what is wrong with these people?
I just remember thinking
green Xbox bands on your arm, idiots.
I remember thinking, what a bunch of wimps to not shell out that money to be on a national championship team. Like, to have a green Xbox patch on their arm. I don't know how much that helps, but, Xbox needs to be out there way more than they are.
Every time you line up to take a swing, you're like this, all right? You line up like this, ready to swing the bat, and all you see right here is Nintendo Switch 2, every batter.
Yep.
Golden God in the chat is saying Nintendo owned the Mariners at one point.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Really?
True Hero, thanks for the 2, says, hey, Colt, is a hot dog a sandwich or a taco?
Okay, knock it off. That's like people calling a hamburger a sandwich. It's not a sandwich. It's either is a hot dog.
It's a hoagie. A hot dog's a hoagie. I would put
technically a hamburger's a sandwich, but I mean,
yeah. Come on now. The burning questions are asked on X&C podcast. One Purpose, thanks for the 5. Says at this point, just give me the Xbox Magnus. In a few years, I'll convert to Steam or PlayStation. Eventually, I will miss the Xbox controller. Kevin Murphy with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Jess. I appreciate what you guys do. Thank you so much, Kevin. We appreciate you for being here. Let's talk about the console and the controller. Why did I say controller?
Okay. No, I knew what you meant.
What were you trying to whisper to me when I was talking about the sandwich?
We were talking about Game Pass. That was the next thing that we were talking about.
Oh, look at Mag doing a way better job, of course, of keeping things up. Yeah, we were talking about it. What's going to happen to Game Pass? Give me 30 seconds, and then I'll unleash the Magnus, the Mag. I think they're going to make some changes with Game Pass. Let me give you the good news, and then we'll go on. I'll do the good news because I have heard things and read things. Game Pass, according to Jez Corden, he's hearing that Xbox wants to bring the $15 World of Warcraft subscription and the $12 Fallout First subscription and Minecraft Realms subscription into Game Pass Ultimate to help, this is the best part, to help make up for the price hike. So with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, you would have the $20 Fortnite, whatever it's called, Fortnite Shamalama Ding Dong, I think that's what they call it. So you'd have what they want to do is just consolidate all these things you might be subscribed to into one place without hiking the price of Game Pass. That's good news, and that sounds like something they're working on. But what is Asha Sharma and the new Xbox going to do to Game Pass immediately? Let's talk about that, Mag.
Would you like my thoughts?
Yes,
as to what
of
I
course.
think is going to happen? Okay. I heard in the fall that there will be a price hike again in 26. That being the case, I think they're going to follow this exact same game plan that they did for 25 with the price hike. And just like what you said, I think it's going to be an amalgamation of what you said and what I've heard is that they're going to raise the price and restructure the tiers yet again. And by doing so, they're going to sort of like mask/soften the blow for anybody, whatever, that is still subscribed to Game Pass, that they'll say, okay, well, now you got the World of Warcraft this, or now you have this Minecraft, whatever the hell. And I didn't even know those things existed, by the way. I had no idea.
I didn't know about
there was a
Minecraft,
subscription.
yeah.
I had no idea that Minecraft had some kind of a subscription. No idea. So that if they start doing that, they're going to do exactly what they did with the last price hike. Do a price hike, and then they're going to say, well, now you get the Fortnite thing, and then you get the whatever. You get the, what's it called? Ubisoft Plus, or at least, excuse me, portions of the Ubisoft Plus,
Classics or whatever it's called. Yeah.
Classic. Excuse me. My bad.
Still pretty cool.
Ubisoft Plus is on PC. Yeah, it is if you haven't played those games. But for me, it was a no-brainer. I played all of them. So no value for me. But anyway, that's fine. Whatever. There will be a price hike coming in. And then by doing so, they're going to restructure the tiers yet again. And then they're going to just say, listen, this is what we're... And it may be simpler. It actually may be simpler. And it'd be like, this name, and this name, and done. And that's all there is to it. However, expect a price hike anyway. So there's going to be no good news about all that. So and I would expect, me personally, I don't think that a price hike will come until later in the year when they start dropping those bigger games. It won't happen with Forza Horizon 6. I could see it happening when they drop Gears, Fable, Call of Duty. That's when you'll see that price hike.
Combat Evolved. Yeah. Oh, interesting.
No. I even think Halo will still make the cut on the first half of the year. So I think that Halo's going to make the June cut. I'm thinking later, like August.
Yeah, I'm hearing
August.
People speculate that it's maybe early September or maybe even August, like Gears
was. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
So how much of a price hike are you?
$5.
$5 more a month, so it'd bring it to
I think
$35 US.
More a month.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really care. I canceled Game Pass. I'm never going back to it. If I want an Xbox game, I buy it outright because I'm not interested in every single game they release. Majority of games that I do play are third party. So for me, I just said this is not financially prudent, especially not in Canada. That's $480 a year. And there's no discounts on buying it in 12 months. Sure, I know people like, well, you can go here. They sell like 3 months at a discount, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go shopping around for something that I don't use as much. If I want the Xbox game, I'll buy it. And I have no problem with that. So that's all there is to it. But now you raise the price again, $5 US. For me, that's going to be basically like buying basically paying for like a console every single year. Not happening. So anyways, it's a no-brainer for me. I'm not buying it. But I would expect that price hike in the third quarter of 2026. Everybody timestamp that because, generally when, what's the funny thing is, Colt, when you and I say something, it usually lands like somewhere in that area. We're usually pretty damn good at that, I got to say.
We talk to people who, or at least sometimes we think reasonably about like logically reasonable predictions. Sometimes there's whispers going on behind people who know better than we do. And I know people tend to say, oh, so-and-so gets things right half the time, but they're not really tracking. But who cares? Now lately, I
said, it's an option, dude. It's an option. It's not the end all. Like if Game Pass was the absolute only way you can access games, then you can have a problem with it because what they've done is that they've limited it to one access point and they keep raising that one access point. Well, now they're screwing you because it's like, well, I don't have any other options.
Yeah.
Right. But the fact that you have an option to purchase or not purchase at all or get the subscription, you have that choice as a consumer. So that's totally cool. There's no problem with that. I have no problem with that.
I know the chat's saying a lot. One more price hike and I'm out. Or when are they going to close?
That's fair. As a consumer, you have every right to do that.
Yeah, and
because it's your money.
One more price hike and I'm out, or when are they going to cancel Game Pass? Like, when's Asha Sharma going to just shut down Game Pass and say, look, we're not doing this anymore. It's cannibalizing sales. They have every right to do it. Like, hey, we're spending $2 to $3 billion a year, which they might be. Oh my gosh, Mag. They might.
Sorry, I'm here to slash price. I'm here to slash prices and jobs.
I'm here to slash prices for you.
Yeah.
What was I saying? That they, that they could cancel. They spend $2 to $3 billion a year getting games in Game Pass, but they're making $1 billion in profit every year, and Game Pass isn't growing. So I think I haven't heard about them increasing Game Pass because 30 is already at the top of what are you doing? This is a subscription service. Like it's literally one of the most expensive subscription services in the, that was hard to say.
That was actually kind of funny. I was trying not to laugh.
I mean, I don't put it past them, Mag. Them hiking prices is something
they will, dude. It's
totally
it's
expect.
100% going to happen.
But it just drives
there's a
me
golden
crazy.
rule. No, understood. But the thing is this. The golden rule of a product is if you're especially consider subscription products, because I've taught, like I've told you before a million times, I talk to people at Amazon Prime and Netflix. And when the golden rule is if your subscriber number is not growing, you raise the price for the existing members. That is how they make up for the profit loss or whatever the hell you want to call it.
That's what PlayStation's doing right now.
They do this. Everybody does the same thing. It's the golden rule of corporations. The golden rule is if your player base is not growing, you raise the prices for the existing subscribers. And that's exactly what Game Pass has been doing. They've already done it 3 times. They're going to do it a 4th. So, like I said, but the choice is yours. Like that's the thing. Like people start freaking out like there's this strange entitlement of like, but we need this and we need that. You don't need anything. What you can actually do is just walk away. You have the right to do whatever the hell you want as a consumer. If you find it not financially prudent, then you walk away and say, listen, I will wait. Or you could do this. You could do this. How about this? What you could do is this. You wait till 2 or 3 bangers are in Game Pass. You subscribe for 1 month, play the 3 bangers in the month, enjoy yourself, do whatever, and then carry on with your life.
You should.
So for $30, $25, $30, you've played all the games that would have cost you $280. So, or $210. And so you could do that. You could do, like, there are many options you could do. Or if you like to keep the game forever and you like to sort of, savor it like a fine wine, do that too. Like some of the games take me forever to play and get completions on because I like to enjoy and go in there, whatever. It might take me a month or 2. And so for me, that's worth it.
I talked to a developer.
Whatever. Yeah.
I talked to a developer this weekend after all this kind of came down about, do people leave the Xbox in mass force? Do people unsubscribe from Game Pass like crazy? And he said he didn't see that. He said that typically people just kind of do what they want or they just stay where they like to stay. And there weren't like a mass of people that left Game Pass, but if there were, and I did this math when the first price hike came up, that Xbox increased the price 50% and then they lost 25% of their users, which they didn't. It wasn't anything like that at all. The reality is that a bunch of people left Game Pass. The price hike more than made up for the people that remained. And if I was running Game Pass, Mag, I'll leave my opinion, then we'll get into the things I think are going to happen with Game Pass. If I was running it and someone's like, I don't want to pay for this anymore, it's not worth it, I'd rather just buy the games. I would say, well, I'm hoping you want to stay in the ecosystem because if someone's like, I'm out, I'm just going to buy Gears E-Day and Fable this year. I'll buy them for $70 or $80 a piece, and I'm not going to keep paying for Game Pass. And then Xbox should be saying, good. We want you to buy the games and own them. But, if that's what you want to do, you're still a customer. So they need to keep the customer. So here's what's happening. Asha has to look at Game Pass's weak points. And we already know that there's a huge problem with ABK. They don't like how much money they're not making because those leeches are hanging back and go, yeah, I'm not unsubscribing. I like Game Pass. It's fine. It's not really that big a deal. I like it. Ooh, Call of Duty. I wasn't really going to play it, but now it's not $70. Now it's free. It's free to me. And this has caused them $1 billion in revenue shortfall that they would normally get when Xbox fans and PC fans who are like, I was kind of on the fence about this Call of Duty, but I'll pay $9 or $19 and I'll play it on Game Pass. So I think Asha could be looking at yanking Call of Duty day and date. And all they have to do is say, hey, Call of Duty will be available on Game Pass 90 days after it launches on the Xbox and PlayStation and PC. If you want to play that game like under the Game Pass subscription and maximize your ability to buy skins and stuff on, with a better value, just wait and play the game 90 days later. And then here's the other kicker. And I would not be surprised if Asha says, look, our big games. We're going to draw the line between, I don't know how they market this, but our big expensive games, the 100+ million or 300 million developed games, need to also launch 3 months later on Game Pass. And what this will do is this will push PC and Xbox fans to buy the game when they look at a game like, I'm not waiting for Fable. Like, if Fable comes out in October, I'm not going to wait till February or January to play it. I want to play it right now. And so they'll just buy the game and they'll happily enjoy it. And how do you market that, Meg? Like, answer me. How do you say everything's no longer available on the Ultimate service? Like, how are they going to do that?
I get your point. I get what you're trying to say. But if they do that, that is suicide.
How is it? Then what do you think?
People will just walk away. I think that's what's going to happen at that point. They're going to be like, forget it. But I mean, it's like at the same time, though, if they did do something like that and then say, no, forget it, I'll just buy it, the corporation still wins because you still bought the IP. You know what I'm saying? So like and then maybe that's that could be a way that they would phase out Game Pass if people start walking away and they're like, well, it's no longer feasible for us. We're just going to walk away and just do what we did before. But I don't know, man. I don't really see what's going to happen beyond what I was thinking is that they're just going to raise it again. That's all there is to it. And then it's going to get to the point that if numbers go down, if the numbers go down to a catastrophic level where they're just like, okay, this is just no longer working for us, then they can phase
Game
it
Pass
out.
numbers or sales numbers?
Game Pass numbers, not sales.
Okay.
I mean, we're talking specifically about Game Pass, right? So, I don't know.
Well, they weren't down.
Like everybody has to weigh it out. What's that?
When I was talking to a bunch, I was on so many phone calls and party chats this weekend with other gaming fans and content creators, and we were diving into the subscription services and the revenue reports, and Xbox's revenue report for the quarter or whatever was like really bad. And they said, but nothing said that the subscriptions were down, just contents and services. And so they believe that Game Pass was holding a steady run and that it wasn't dropping down. So that $1 billion in profit that they get every year from Game Pass is like this reliable thing. Like, they didn't hit 100 million and they'll never hit 100 million. So now they look at Game Pass as the next generation Xbox, where you can play on Game Pass if you'd like. We definitely are going to provide that for you. If you'd like to go into next generation with a $1,200, maybe $1,500 Surface Pro style console that is super premium and really nice, like I would expect this next Magnus, which we'll talk about in a minute, not to be just thermoform plastic. It might actually have some nice little adornments and be like a premium quality product that is more attuned to the Surface Pro, where they're like, this is a really expensive laptop that we don't sell it to everyone. We sell it to students and artists and musicians and editors and diehard people that want like a really nice premium device. When they open up their laptop in the train, they don't want to have some cheap laptop. They want something super nice. And I think that's how they're going to treat the next console. So Game Pass may be on a steady clip, and they're like, we're fine with that. We make our money there. We don't lose any money. That's a thing that's not a loss leader for us. So,
but you're gonna face more scrutiny, and you're gonna face more volatility if you start raising prices and removing content.
What if?
So that's where you'll have a problem.
What if they don't want to raise Game Pass, but instead they want to make cuts and add other things? You believe they will in quarter? What quarter did you say?
Quarter 3 of 26.
Toward the last couple of months of 2026.
Correct. Well, no, the last couple of months would be the fourth quarter. I'm saying third quarter, like late summer, early fall.
I mean, that'd be pretty awful.
And then there'll be like a restructuring.
That'll be pretty.
For sure, there's going to be a restructuring. I can tell you that. I think we could both agree on that there will be a restructuring of Game Pass and its tier system. There's no question. Like, there's no way they're just going to leave it status quo and be like, yeah, whatever. Just let it do its thing over there. 100%. That's one of the things that she's been she's been forced to look at first. I bet you that's one of the top priorities, where Satya sits down and says, I want you to focus on this, and Amy Hood's right there, because these are problematic I want you to focus on Game Pass. I want you to focus on labor, and I want you to focus on sales and whatever else. And those three things in no particular order. And 100% a restructuring of Game Pass is going to be put in there, and it's going to include a price hike. I don't know. That's just my thought.
A Game Pass price hike a year after their last absolute abomination of what they did to their name and brand and their reputation. Another Game Pass price hike a year later, which would also be accommodated by a massive layoff spree across Microsoft after the showcase. Sources are telling us that Xbox Showcase is going to be awesome in June, and then a month later, they're trying to avoid ruining their big moment. Hey, here's what we got. We're awesome. We got all these games, and then give it 30 days and say, oh, by the way, Microsoft's making major cuts across the Microsoft and Xbox division. And they'll lay off, we're hearing, what is it, like 5,000 to 7,000 people. And then they hike the Game Pass prices. Like, talk about digging a hole that Asha Sharma could never get out of.
You almost said it.
I know I almost said it. I'll accidentally speak all the time. But yeah, Asha would be in a massive, that would put her in a nuclear bomb of a hole to dig out of and try to build up the brand. But maybe if it cuts so much dead weight, that's awful to say to employees, but maybe it cuts so many expenses. I'll fix that. Sorry about that. This is awful when they do this. Maybe it'll cut so many expenses that they can finally make this lean profit machine. But this is the reality of getting rid of Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond, because I'll say again, I said it earlier in the show, did you really like what Phil was doing over the past 2 years? You know, when Phil was showing up on podcasts and interviews with the media, everyone's like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. This guy looks like he's dying. He's lost so much weight. Looks like he's under so much stress. And then he was talking about price hikes and canceling the handheld. Like, it's been tough. And it hasn't stopped since Don Matrick goes. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what ended up happening at that point? We don't have to get into the history of Xbox, for Christ's sake. We all know it. But you know what happened after the 360? What happened after the 360 is corporate structure took over. And instead of making it a better experience, they just couldn't figure it out because there were too many fingers in the pies, too many people calling the shots, and just like they didn't. It was unfocused, and you could tell it was unfocused. And maybe Asha could bring this back.
Yeah.
Maybe. But I'm not going to be one of those rah guys that, like, I see some of the guys on social media, Xbox is so back. No, it's not. It's exactly the same as it was yesterday. They have work to do.
Yeah.
They have work to do if they want to even have a chance at bringing it to its former glory. And I'm not doom and glooming and this and that. If it hurts your feelings, go cry yourself to sleep. I'm telling you the reality of the situation. The reality of the situation is literally nothing has changed. And she's got a lot of, she under the guidance of Satya and Amy Hood have a lot of work to do ahead of this if they want to do that. And I'm very curious to see what actually happens. I'm curious to see. I'm not going to say it's good, and I'm certainly not going to say it's bad either, because we don't know. We can't go out there with absolute certainty and say it's over, it's dead, it's gone, it's this, it's that, whatever, because it hasn't happened yet. When it happens, then you could say it's absolutely done, it's dead, final nail in the coffin, fine, it is what it is. And like I said, I'm just going to put myself in a wait and see pattern and see what happens. But at the end of the day, you know what concerns me? What concerns me is that Deceiver, he goes, I'm going to go cry now. Thanks, Meg.
Yeah.
You know what concerns me? I'm a consumer of a product. I don't care about what you have to. I don't care what you did before. I don't care what you got to do in the future. I don't care about your friends. I don't care about your family. You're giving me a product. Yeah. Do I care about the guy, the people that put together the book I go buy in the bookstore, or the song I download? Nobody cares. But why is it all of a sudden there's this hyper focus on caring about all these things around a product? Just buy the bloody product. Play a good one. Give me a good product to play and enjoy so that I can experience it with myself, my family, and my friends, and the online community that we've created. That's it. That's all we should be focusing on. All the other stuff is absolute nonsense. I don't care if Asha Sharma used to be an intern at Home Depot. Apparently, she's on the board of Home Depot.
Yeah, she's on the board.
I don't care if she used to push carts at Home Depot. Who cares? Make good games.
Yeah, I had a friend who told me, be careful about cheerleading or being
Never.
excited
I don't
or hopeful
cheerlead
for
any of them.
Xbox, right? And he was like, you don't want to come off like that you're championing what they're going to do next. And I'm like, well, there's a huge difference because you and I have a lot to say about what we like and don't like. One thing I can tell you that I am excited about is their next console. And you said it, you were setting it up really well, Mag, that I only care about the games and I care about the next generation hardware being something that I want to play on. And then for Game Pass, my Game Pass involvement has really waned. Like, I'll just say really briefly, I don't play as many games on Game Pass like I used to. So I don't use it in the traditional sense that Xbox would want me to. So that has kind of changed. I've shifted the way. So whatever they do to Game Pass, I'll be like, I can be on the outside of it or other. I want them to do things right by their customers. But Seamus Blackley, who was the founder of the original Xbox in 2001, who left in 2002 or 3, he made a statement that Asha Sharma is there to sunset the Xbox. And what he's talking about...
She might be, Colt. She might be.
Well,
we don't know.
Here's the funny part.
You can't say the otherwise. Like that's the other side of the coin. We can't say what she's going to do, but we also say what she's not going to do. We don't know.
Yeah, here's
Maybe
the thing.
She is.
Here's the thing. Asha Sharma is absolutely there to sunset the Xbox console. This is coming from Colteastwood, a guy who's made Xbox YouTube videos for 10 years, almost 10 years. I'll tell you what that means, because my friends have yelled at me on the phone about this, that they're going to cancel the console or it's not going to sell. The reality is, Asha Sharma, if she survives this next few years, she will be there to sunset the Xbox console, because the Xbox Magnus is 100%, in my opinion, going to be the last Xbox console they ever make. And it is already, according to the sources I've talked to, point of no return. They're making the next generation console. And the idea is for Microsoft to bring in OEMs and their own first-party console so that they can hopefully allow OEMs to carry the mantle, carry the torch of Xbox hardware devices without the Xbox internal team making them in the future. What that means is that in 2 years from now, or less than 2 years, Xbox will have their Magnus, which is the AMD. We talked about this last week when you weren't here, Mag, but the AMD Magnus is a product name for the AMD, but Xbox will have their Xbox Prime or whatever. They will put that out, and then there will be OEM consoles as well that go along with them. And that generation may last 4 or 5 years, and it may only sell 5 to 12 million units in its total lifespan. And like I said, Xbox doesn't care. They're going to make money on it. It'll be a profitable device, no matter what, no matter if they only sell 1 million consoles. And then hopefully Lenovo, Razer, Asus, or you name it, can take their chip that they develop and just continue to build devices that play Xbox games. So your Xbox console library will not die. So Asha Sharma made a point in her opening statement that they're going to get back to Xbox on console and not fill it with AI slop. A lot of that's PR speak, but I think my expectation is that she will help usher in the next generation Xbox, not Phil Spencer, which kind of sucks because, like feels like he should have been the guy, but it was Don Matrick 15 or 18 years ago. Whatever that number is, there will be a next generation console. So when you see me excited and making videos with thumbnails that look like I'm excited about Xbox, I want to stand up and say this. This is all about, for me, this is all about being excited about video games. Video games that I'm excited about. I want to play Fable. I want to play Gears E-Day. I'm excited about some projects they have 40 projects that they're going to show us. We don't know about them. Like I said, 40 projects, maybe 30 once they don't get shelved or whatever. I'm excited about the games. I'm excited about the hardware. And that stuff's coming. And when I champion Xbox to do right by those games and make those better or as great as they've been, or maybe even like push the envelope to make their games completely awesome, that's what I'm going to champion, because I'm a gamer and I'm a content creator third, because I'm a husband and a father. But I'm a gaming fan. I'm not going to sit here and yell about Asha Sharma or Satya Nadella or Matt Booty and call them names or call for their head to be put on a pike because I don't like the business decisions they make. I'm going to be 50 years old in May. I have no business crying in my car or calling names of these Xbox executives that are trying to make video games. Meg and I will sit here like we always do, and we'll talk and we'll be constructive and we'll say they better not price hike. Or Meg and I can sit here and say, man, they're going to price hike Game Pass and we're going to let them have it when they say it. Because Meg and I are old gamers who came from a long line of video gaming. And this is just an entertainment segment that we love with our whole souls. And if I have complaints about them, I will make them gosh dang constructive and reasonable, because no one's going to listen to Mag and I if we sit here and cuss and make sexual innuendos about people who are actually making video games, or be disrespectful and make it about race or sex or whatever. These people they're psychotic. I'll tell you what, I don't care if you work for PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, or Ouya. When there's people on social media or on podcasts who cuss and yell and make violent skits or whatever, those people are muted and blocked. Their voice will never be heard. And it's up to us as gaming fans to say, hey, I love this. I love this hobby so much. I want you to make Fable the best it can be. It's got to be full-bodied and it's got to make me feel like I want to live in that world. And if you're going to make a console, I want you to make it this powerful device that plays all of my library and even more things on PC. These are things that I'm excited about. That's my speech. I have to say it because some people are, there's people that are gatekeeping the way that I react, because I'm excited about things that could be with Xbox. But if you watch the videos, Mag, you sit here with me every week. We say what we don't like and what we don't want with Xbox. We say what we don't like about PlayStation. We say what we love about it. And a reasonable, level-headed, normal, middle-aged guy like us, sometimes somebody in the games industry says, hey, I can really appreciate how you guys keep it real and, you're reasonable. And I think it's important. And it was cool that Asha Sharma followed me. She follows like less than 300 people. And maybe someone at Xbox PR says, hey, go follow Colt and Rand and Paris because, they're pretty good voices. A lot of people talk to them. We're lucky. We're so lucky to have all of you guys who are here chatting and bringing your insight and your opinions and changing our minds when we say dumb things. We appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Meg, I don't know. That's a lot to say. Paris goes, me too.
You said what you had to say.
Yeah. You
said what you had to say. That's
one
fine.
last thing.
Totally fine.
One last thing. I have lost a couple of friends. Let's get real for a minute. I've lost a couple of friends over this effing console nonsense. One of them that I spoke to 8 to 9 hours a day, and he had lots of other things going on, but really frustrated with the way Xbox is. And that divide, like we have a common ground. Like we all like the same games, where we play on the same platform. So we're on Xbox Party Chat the same. Like those things are like real connections. And then it all dissolves away when someone's like, I don't like what Xbox is doing and you still make content. And now I have this resentment against you. People that I love don't really talk to me anymore. And it's really upsetting. And the other day when Mag was up with his family, I texted him. I said, hey, what are you doing right now? And he sends me this picture of him, this huge crap-eating grin with a bonfire, and there's snow everywhere, and he's sick as a dog, and he's having a great time with his kids and his family and friends. And I was like, oh, crap, he's having a really good time. I was going to call you and say, hey, man, I'm going through it. I could use an ear. And don't feel guilty about it.
That's why you messaged me and said, what are you doing right now? You should have just called me.
No, I just saw that, and I've done this in the past. Sometimes
I thought you wanted to go live on the air or something.
No,
and I'm like, maybe he wants me to go live. I'm like, dude, I'm up north, man. I can't do anything. But you should have just called me anyway. It doesn't make a difference.
Sometimes I've been through it, and I always remember one time I called my brother when I was going through something, and he's like, we're about to have my son's birthday party. I got to go. And I felt so dumb, but I needed someone. But anyway, don't feel guilty about it. You're awesome. But this is like how I feel about Mag. Mag has always been a compass for me. I don't know where that compass has taken me, probably down the wrong alley, but
I'll never steer you wrong. I'll never steer you wrong. I'm always there.
Bro.
I may come across sometimes like, when people see, I may come across as like, a little ridiculous or excessive or whatever. Yeah, there is part of that. I mean, I'm Italian. It's just kind of like part of the. It's almost like a part of the emotional mood swings that we have. But it's mostly just funny. But in the end of the day, no, I'll always be there for people who are actually friends. People who are actually friends and stuff like that. And the thing is, when you have differing opinions, if you're not talking to somebody because of that, then unfortunately, you're not really that person's friend. Or you have to come to the realization that they never really were. And it's like you look back at like your life and you look back at things and then you look back at people and you'd be like, man, we were like the best of friends for like 8 years when we worked together and this and that, and now they don't talk to you anymore or this and that. And then you realize that they were actually never there for you. They were just there for what you offered them. Maybe, and so that basically that's kind of how it works out, right? And I'm not that way at all. I'm not that way at all. I'm not going to waste my time with people like the people that I just don't. It's fine to like talk to people that you don't connect with or you're not friends with or whatever, but you know where to keep people at arm's length. And you'd be like, yeah, listen, man, like, it's cool that we do this together, we do that together, and I'm no problem with that, but you ain't part of the inner circle. And it's like, it's going to sound funny that I'm saying this, but like Tupac said it. He says, to my people that I actually don't want, that are not really in my circle, I don't want you to starve, but you're not going to eat at my table. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like Tupac said that, and it actually might be one of the most intelligent, one of the smartest things, wisest things he's ever said. I will say it that way. And it says, yeah, I don't want to see you starve, but you're not going to be eating at my table, and that's totally fine, and it's totally cool. But like at the end of the day, what we're doing here, we're doing it for the passion of something that we love, whether you love it or hate. You know what I mean? And it's not about what company, this and that, whatever. For me, it's all about the enjoyment of turning on this monitor over here and sitting down and playing with my kids, my wife, the community, sitting on podcasts talking about this stuff because we love it. We love doing it. And it doesn't matter what it is at the end of the day. It's not going to be kumbaya. There's no question of that. But like at the same time, there comes like a point where people have to drop their emotions when it comes to this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the emotions is ridiculous. And it's like going after people personally because of a choice that I decide to make or you decide to make or whatever. If you want to be if you're excited about Xbox and everything else, why should people clown you for something that you're excited for? It's totally cool. You know what I mean? It's to be like, hey, man, you're excited for that? That's awesome. At least you have something you're passionate about. And because there's so many people walking around on this planet that are so dead inside that you're just wasting valuable air for people who are actually enjoying their life, man.
Yeah.
They're just miserable. You know what I'm saying? And so
it's
like
sad.
when you look at this, it's stupid. And it's so like the thing is, in any decisions that I make, right? Why would that reflect on how you feel as me as a person? So, like, for example, you want to get back to the video game talk? We were talking about you talk about next generation or whatever. You're excited for it. I really don't know what to expect. And let's say it's too expensive, and I'd be like, I'm not paying that.
Yeah, it'll be.
And I'm
very
like, I'm not
expensive.
paying that. I'll access my stuff elsewhere. Are you going to come after me personally because I made a financial decision that I thought was going to impact my happiness of something?
I mean, as long as you don't make fun of me for dropping all that money.
Why would I do it?
Yeah, like it just
I don't care what
right?
you do. If you're happy about something, go for it. It's your happiness. Why would I try to intrude on somebody else's happiness?
Yeah,
it's absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it doesn't. Glinzer says, friends bailing because of video games. That's sadder than the refrigerator with no beer. Game on how you want, where you want. Be your own Metacritic. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sometimes people say, how can you like that game? And like, there's people that will just straight up make fun of you for liking something that they don't like. And
or
maybe I do it
sometimes. Through the mud.
Yeah,
like Crispy Bomb. There he goes. Hey, Crispy, I see you there. He goes, I give Meg shit all the time, but we go back to the OG Gaming After Dark days. Yeah. Crispy and I have been busting each other's balls for 10 years, or for like, whatever, 5 years, 6 years, whatever long it's been. Cares? You know what I mean? But we're still talking. We still hang out. We're still friends. And like I listen to shows where people say, why do you listen to this guy? Why do you listen to that guy? I go, what business is it of yours what I watch?
Oh, right. Yeah, I know who you're talking about too. Yeah.
Right? It could be anybody, like, and I'm not going to say their names because, we get people.
I was like, why do you listen to that guy, Meg?
Right. It's like, who cares? I listen to them because I want to hear what everybody else has got to say.
Yeah.
That's it. And it doesn't mean I have to respect it. I don't have to agree with it, but I listen to it anyway because it gives me a more rounded sort of, understanding of where everybody's coming from. And I like listening to that.
Yeah, I do too.
So that, if I watch this guy, that guy, this YouTuber, they could be 100% not what I'm into, right? And I could sit there and listen to them and be like, okay, I don't agree with it, but okay, that's fine. They seem happy. You know what I mean? Like they seem excited. I don't listen to toxic people. Toxic people is where I cut it off. There's a couple of out there that are pretty toxic, and I just blocked them completely.
One of them got his account completely permanently banned for clipping a lot
of... Oh, he's just an incel. Yeah. He's just an incel troll. That's a different situation. He's not a YouTuber. He's just a piece of shit. Excuse my language.
I mean, I talked to a couple good friends that were like trying to come to an understanding of where I am with Asha and Phil Spencer leaving, and even sometimes they assume that I'm okay with everything. What are you laughing at? I'm looking at a different screen here.
No, go ahead, keep talking.
It's just like people assume, right? Like, and when I look at my thumbnail for the video that I put out this morning, it looks very hopeful, but you know, there's stuff not being said by me. And then there's like half of my script, I'm very constructively criticizing kind of harshly Xbox's failure to do things. So that will happen to you guys. You know, you in the chat, you're here watching the show. We appreciate you. Hit the like button. You're here because you get in these discussions with your own friends or even people that are like asking you about the gaming thing, or you're in forums and on social media because you care about this stuff. And people will tell you what you think all the time. And my new favorite response is, you said all that, I didn't. Oh, so you're just saying it doesn't matter if developers get laid off. I'm like, you said that, I didn't. And then I mute them. So we appreciate you guys. I want to talk about Xbox fan events because there might be some changes. At least I thought some really cool things could possibly happen this year when it comes to actually getting the fans together with the 25th anniversary. Some of that's starting to look kind of hopeful, but then when you step back and say, Asha's going to come in, is she going to be like trying to green light events? I want to get to that in just a moment. Before I do, let me grab some questions. Broke Boy, thank you for the 2, says Mariners and Seahawks play in an Xbox stadium. They don't. They play at Lumen Field for the Seahawks and then T-Mobile, which is where Sarah Bond came from. But yeah. But maybe what he's trying to say is they should play in an Xbox stadium. Imagine if instead of T-Mobile with the pink signs, it was an Xbox baseball stadium. I'd go there and go, let me shill in real time. This is amazing. Thank you. Well, G-Mania, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. It says, did you see the video Alana Pierce made? I did not. He says, she went on saying the whole games industry is doomed. Kind of is in a lot of ways. She said the Xbox is going to eventually close all of their studios and eventually PlayStation will do the same. She's totally panicking. I like Alana Pierce, but where the crap is she getting this? Like, Meg and I are kind of on the same page that there's going to be some studios that get consolidated.
There's going to be restructuring. There's going to be refocusing as, for multiple reasons, but we don't have to get into. But there will be multiple reasons as to why. Financial being number one, and that number one, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's going to be about financial and AI integration. And when those things happen over the next the next couple of years, it is what it is. So. That's exactly what's going to happen. So there will be a restructuring. As for going away, it's literally a multi-trillion-dollar business. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. It's going to have a different face. It's going to be restructured in a way that's going to make them more money because don't forget, they're greedy corporate snakes. So they will do whatever it is to make them more money and everybody else less money. That's just the reality. But it is what it is. And I would expect a restructuring starting this year. And it's going to take a couple of years because they're not going to do it all at once. It's not going to be a shock to the system so that it's going to be status quo. But then all of a sudden, from right now, what is it? It's February, end of February of 2026. In the end of February 2028, we're going to be having a conversation going, wow, that's different, right? But you're still going to be getting your games. You're still going to be playing your games in different ways, different hardware, that kind of stuff, and we'll still be getting it. But the face of the company may look similar, but certainly the blood and guts of it are going to be completely different. You watch and see. Hope that answers your question.
Make that really well said, Mag. I love that. It does paint a good picture because making fewer games means they make less money, but if they can hone in like the sure things to make more money, G-Mania, I'd ask you to write in the chat, like, did she probably say that Xbox and PlayStation are going to close a lot of studios? Kind of in line with how Mag said it, because I know sometimes we hear things and we're like, they're going to do everything. So I don't know. I haven't watched the content, so I can't speak on her behalf. Kevin Murphy, thank you so much for the 10, says, watching your show put a smile on my face through some dark times in my life. Thank you so much.
Excellent.
Yeah,
I mean,
thank
not
you.
excellent that you had dark times. I'm saying excellent that, like,
If we could,
you can
yeah, if we could
make people happy, forget their troubles, entertain you,
distract them.
you know what I mean? Even just a listening ear, all that kind of stuff, man.
I'll tell
all
you
good,
what,
man.
Kevin. I don't know how Mag's pretty jovial guy, but sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I can do the show today. My emotions are pretty even keeled. I think at least I try to act like they are, but sometimes I'm not having a day, and I come on here and Mag just cheers me up, and you guys being here with us and talking games and chatting, you do a lot for us as well. We appreciate it. Lotus Spree,
of course, man.
go ahead.
Sorry, that's all I was going to say. Go on.
I know I'm really trying. It's going to take years and years of conditioning to make sure that we hear each other. Lotus Spree, thank you so much. They said, I hope everyone is having a fabulous week of gaming. Yeah, I mean, let's be real. All this stuff, like big structural changes. I know. Mag's about to have the game
Resident
of a
Evil week.
lifetime.
It's Resident Evil week. Who's excited? This guy.
Mag, the games industry is in such turmoil, but dang, aren't the games great? I mean, I'm enjoying them, and they're coming in like all the time.
I'm having fun.
Yeah.
I'm having fun. I can't wait to, like I said, this week, man. Oh my God. Like Resident Evil, I can't wait. Hopefully they release it at like 10 p.m. or something, because sometimes they release it a couple hours before midnight. I'll just go live right then, Thursday night.
Yeah.
And just play, and then go get some sleep, take the kids to school, and then go back and just play for the rest of the day and into the night. Put it all up in the air live.
Like get a burrito and shove it in your armpit so you can eat it while you play.
Right. And eat it while I play. Exactly, man. I can't wait.
Brad War Fight's gonna clip our faces doing that. Just
hey, I want to read something here. This is from one of my maggots over there, Dallas. Dallas LeBeau said something. This is in regards to your last super chat. He says, Mag and his maggots on his channel kept me going after I lost my dad. Last month after I lost my dad. And so when we did, I remember he came in, he talked about it, like literally came while I was on the air, and he's like, my dad just died and whatever. And the community came together, man, reaching out to him, DMs, all that kind of stuff, talked about, you know what I mean? Like, and it's just like, that's what it's all about too. It's not even just about, all right, let's talk about like whatever, gaming and this and that. Sometimes people just need that camaraderie. There's a lot of lonely people out there who are looking for like-minded people who have the same interests. I mean, you remember growing up in the 80s and 90s, dude, you were a nerd if you played video games. Nobody wanted to talk about that at the schoolyard.
I told people I didn't game. Yeah. I have a whole story about that.
You know what I'm saying? Like we were desperate to find like-minded people that loved what we loved outside of arcades. Like arcades, everybody used to go there. All the normies used to go there. It was not a big deal. But like being a hardcore gamer at home on a PC or a console, you were a nerd, and nobody wanted to talk about it. So, and it's not like now we have the internet where we can get together as a community and talk about this stuff. We didn't have that. We didn't have it. And like you had to go to the store and buy Nintendo Power or the latest PlayStation magazine. Remember they used to have the PlayStation magazine with the disc with all the demos on it? And like you were a total nerd.
I was
but now we have a community, right? It's great.
I was like 35 when I felt like I could actually kind of talk about being a gamer. So another one in the chat, this one from Game Seeker. Thank you so much for the 5. This guy, we've been talking and we've become such close, great friends. We talk on Discord or we play games online, and he joins the other friends that we game with. And we've been talking so much, and he's been such a great person to lean on and an ear to listen that my wife's like, oh, talking to your boyfriend again over there? Talking to him a little too much, huh? I'm like, well, I mean, I've had a lot of people in the community that, like Randall Thor, we talk on the phone for hours, like we twirl our hair. Oh yeah, what are you doing? Oh, you eat Chinese food? Is it good? Does he taste it? Do you like it? Is it good? Do you like it?
Oh God. Feeling cute. My game later.
Game Seeker says, Mag, did Mark Carney close Blue Point Studios?
Yeah, that's right. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Carney raised the taxes so high in Canada that he couldn't raise the taxes anymore. So what he had to do is he had to close Blue Point in order to not raise taxes before election season. So, that's exactly what happened, Game Seeker. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Did you see that PlayStation Germany put out a tweet this morning and said, what game do you want PlayStation to remaster? And then people were like, what the F? They just closed Blue Point. And they're like, delete.
They closed the remaster studio. Yeah. By the way, you know what's interesting about that? We're not going to get into a conversation because we'd have a very big show tonight.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this. Blue Point was the one that pitched the idea for the live service game to Sony, not the other way around. They were not forced to make a live service game.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I found that out this morning. So it turns out that it was Blue Point that approached them when they were in the middle of helping develop God of War Ragnarok, and they pitched Sony an idea. They said, "Hey, I heard you guys are interested in live service games. We have a game we want to work on." And after they had showed it to them, they greenlit it. Then when it got too expensive, and it was getting to the point where it was going to take literally several more years to finish it, Sony said, "We got to cut it. We got to cut it before, we got to cut it off now because it's getting too much and whatever." And then they ended up dissolving them into the whatever. And the other thing is too is that they were not actually actively working on something for the last 9.5 months.
That's what I figured.
So they were literally
what
just
the heck are they
costing
even
them
doing? Yeah, they're just
costing them money. They had some ideas for remakes, and they're like, "We want to do a remake of this." And there was 4, which they won't say which ones it was. They said, yeah, can you imagine? They said there were 4 ideas that they were interested in making a remake for, and Sony actually turned those down. And the reason why is that Sony said those won't actively make money because people don't care about those IPs. So the crazy thing is I would love to know. I would love to be a fly in the wall and find out what those 4 pitches were. But I guess we'll never find out because people won't spill the beans anymore about it, the ex-employees. You know why? Because they all just got rehired in-house by Sony Studios. So if they start talking Druckmann's going to walk by and be like, "Yo, did you, you know what I mean?" Because now you're still part of the crew. You're still part of the crew. It's not like they sent them packing. So they're not going to, but I would love to know what they were planning on remaking.
Yeah.
But Sony wasn't confident the IPs were popular enough to do that. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I would love to hear. I mean, it would be so funny if it was Bloodborne and they're like, nobody's interested in that, but that would be the most tone deaf thing ever. And the reality is that some games are going to get canceled so they don't fail. Lotus Supreme, thank you so much. They gifted a channel membership to my friend DeMarco dude, who I will probably have on the show with us either when you're not here or he can hang out with us. Great guy, great content creator, and an up and coming, soon to be super popular content creator. But yeah, all right, love him. King Fanman says, "I've been made fun of tons for Fallout 76 and Starfield." Yeah, which is nuts. No, it's not nuts, King Fan Man. Like those games, like people just love to make fun of them. Fallout 76 has its own, Starfield have their own problems. But he says, "I've never even commented on someone's post about a game I don't like." I mean, I've commented, but I don't tell people, why do you like that game? That's stupid. That's like telling someone, why do you like rhubarb pie? I can say, I tried rhubarb pie and I barfed. But that would be the end of my story. But we had the whole conversation.
Why would, like if someone says, Starfield is my favorite game of the last 5 years, as I wholeheartedly disagree, and we have legendary back and forths about Starfield. I don't like it at all, and you love it, but I don't feel compelled to go on that guy's post and say, "You're wrong, it's trash, it's stupid, I gave it a 4 out of 10. Nobody cares. Just let the guy have his fun. If he loves it, leave him alone.
Yeah, and
you know what I'm saying? Like, I leave you alone. I bust your chops a little bit, but that's because we're doing the show.
I know, and I got called out pretty severely last week or the 2 weeks ago when I was like, Starfield's a good game. It's rated well. Why are you calling it trash? And then once I listened to everybody, I'm like, that's why it's a learning experience. I'm like, oh yeah, people are totally allowed to call it trash. What I should have said was just
why?
Let people enjoy it. That's what I should have said.
Lucius Thomas in the chat says, "Why waste your time?" Exactly. Like, people feel compelled to stick your nose in everybody's business unless you're being attacked personally. It's a different story. But if someone's just posting like, "I loved this game," or "I love this console," or "I love this show," like, who cares? Let them enjoy it.
I don't know. I guess I feel like when someone's like, "That game's trash," they're saying, "Why are you so dumb to like it?" And that's on me. That's my fault for feeling that way, because it's always up to you how you react. But why? It's crazy. They do it. A BT Maverick with a $2 has a question for you, Mag. Mag, what is your price limit on the PS6 in Canadian dollars?
In Canadian, where
you're like, I'm out. What's your limit?
I paid $1,100 for the PS5 Pro. Dude, commie carney, taxes. Dude, $260 of that was tax. Like, come on, man. Or 200 and whatever it was, $200 and something in tax. But anyways, the point is, My maximum would be $1,300 because judging by the possibility, 1,300 Canadian. So that's about
Nikes.
1,300 Canadian. So that's probably around $800 American, maybe $850 somewhere. Around. So that would be my maximum. But the thing is, depending on the Magnus, the price, I may be only buying one console because it's going to be my new PC because I'll be able to play all the games on one. So there's no point in me doing that. So like I'm not going to buy like if I have like a Magnus that's going to cost me upwards of 2,000 Canadian dollars. As crazy as that sounds, it's not actually as much as you think. Like $1,300 US dollars plus tax and everything and exchange rate in Canada is like $2,000. I'm not buying a $2,000 console to play all the stuff that I could literally play on one box. I'll just buy the one box.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would think $1,300 is my absolute maximum. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah,
Canadian with tax and everything else.
And I think that the PS6 will be maybe just under that. And for me, in US, 1,500 would be my maximum. It's crazy. That's kind of the reality we're going to get into. I want to. I'm throwing a curveball here, but for Yodani Quezada, who is an amazing channel mod, good friend, and I owe him, and I'm so late. I wanted to show the coins I'm going to send him. This Black Ops 7 coin. Hold on,
Cool.
let me show you the other side, and we'll get it in focus here in a second.
Yeah, it just takes a second to refocus.
I got
it's nice. I like that actually.
Helldivers. Well, I'm gonna try to turn it the right way. Helldivers coin. Gosh dang! I hope my camera looks as good as it looks for me right here. Here's the other side.
It looks good.
Sorry that the envelope's in the way, but I won't be putting fingerprints. So you can see the. Well, now you can't. I've got an Avowed coin, which you may not love Avowed, Yodani, but this is a freaking cool coin. Sideways. All right, hold on, 2 more, and then we'll move on. The Doom coin.
All good.
Which has the blood splatter. Come on, focus. You can do it, baby. Look at the other side. Are you ready for this? Are you ready? Look at that.
That's actually really
chainsaw
cool.
shield.
I like that one.
This is all from Ben Kenobi, and I'm going to send him a second Doom one so he can display both sides. Yodani, thank you so much for everything you do, bro. I hope everything is well in your neck of the woods. You're awesome, and I know I've been sitting on it, but my wife's like, have you sent that stuff to Yodani? I'm like, no. I'm a horrible person, but I'm going to do it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Eddie Garcia goes, I want a mag coin. I want the one
that's coming. That's coming. There's going to be Bitcoin, and then there's mag coin. That's all coming, folks. It's all coming. Like the Hawk Tui coin, and then I go to jail. It's all done. We already got it all under control. Skillet will. Yes, they wanted to make a more affordable console for next gen. It's not a rumor. That is true. But if anybody thinks that PlayStation is going to sell a PS6 for anything under the price of a PS5 Pro, is never going to happen. So it's going to be $750 and above, guaranteed. No ifs, ands, or buts. There is no way they have a PS5 Pro at this price, and then they're going to sell PS6 under that. Not going to happen. It's always going to incrementally go higher.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, sorry. Carry on.
It's Broke Boy. Thank you for the 2. Says Colt, correct Colt naming rights deal. Correct Colt naming rights deal. I don't know what that means, but I don't know if you're referring to the Magnus versus Prime thing. I have a feeling that at Xbox Showcase of the 25th anniversary, near November, they're going to say, hey, we're announcing Project Scarlett. That's what they called the last one. Or they'll say Project Prime or whatever they're naming it. And that'll just be the code name for Xbox's own first-party console. G-Mania, thanks for the 5, says the video is called Phil is Leaving Xbox from Alana Pierce. Alana was in tears saying that this is it for video games. You should check it out sometime. I will watch it. It's really, really tough if she's looking at what's going on for right now and thinks that the video game industry as we know it is dying. I think Mag said it well. The video game industry needs to make mass adjustments because they've been overspending.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say they're just going to restructure. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's going to restructure, and the face may be similar, but it'll be completely different in a different way. Like when you actually look at the whole picture, you'll be like, "Oh, this is a different industry, but still the same industry." Does that make sense? I don't know if that.
Yeah,
makes
and
sense.
she's also got like a long-standing boycott for AI being used in video games, and we're already seeing it. Like, I don't know if she avoided Arc Raiders because they used AI voices in it. Maybe she did. I don't really follow most of what she does, but AI is going to be folded into gaming. And I'll just say, I think some of the AI stuff we'll either not know it's there, or it will benefit us because some things will be done quicker and it won't affect the game where you can actually tell it's AI. You know, I use AI in Photoshop, and I used it in this thumbnail. And not in the way you think. Phil Spencer, I didn't have enough room with the background, and I told Photoshop's AI to add some more of that blurry background to the left or to the right so I could, composite everything. You don't see any AI slop because it's actually Phil Spencer. I don't go to AI and say, generate a picture of Asha and Phil Spencer, shaking hands, because I don't want that stuff in my content. So let's talk about the Xbox events, because we talked about a possible Xbox Developer Direct at the mid or end of March, maybe a partner preview showcase, which they did 2 years ago. I don't know if that's going to happen, but will Xbox bring back FanFest for the showcase coming in June? And will they do a real in-person thing for the 25th anniversary somewhere around November, near the 25th anniversary of Xbox? As it is, I could tell you it's very possible that Xbox is looking at doing something in their own backyard. They're in Redmond, Washington. They're near Seattle and all these venues that they could rent out or lease and use. And it was very possible that they could be looking at, let's do an in-person event. Let's have people come to Seattle or Washington State if they want. Instead of doing it in the more expensive Los Angeles, host that in their own, maybe they could even do it on campus and they don't have to pay for the venue. And they could have a huge thing with actual fans being able to come to this event and celebrate 25 years of Xbox. This would be a really great time to give Asha Sharma a baptism by fire of what it means to be an Xbox brand and an Xbox fan. Get her on the ground with all of the people that make Xbox happen and the people that are passionate about making and playing those games and buying them. I would love to see that be a reality. Let's see. Broke Boy says, Colt, they need to get the naming rights to the Xbox Stadium. That's, I don't know how that works. I think you pay this big thing and now it's called Xbox Stadium. It's a funny joke, but hey, go big. Start spending your money and make it work for you. Scott Gamer Dude, thank you so much for the 10, says, my limit for the new Xbox, treating it as a PC pre-build that I could play all my Xbox and PC games, would be $1,500. I would put together a PC build for $3,000, which was too much. Mine is, as it stands with everything in it, is around $3,000. And if I can play a Magnus in 2 years, Mag, that is almost as powerful as that, but lets me play all my games without switching HDMIs and heads. Like, I use 2 headsets, like, depending on who I'm playing with. I don't want to do that anymore. Mag, it's been an awesome show. It's
been wild.
You brought the gospel, bro. You're amazing. Everybody, let Mag know how much you appreciate him. Tell everybody what you're going to do, even though you just came off your deathbed from the Ebola flu, and what you have planned for this channel.
Well, you know what's funny is during my actual birthday, which was last Tuesday, and of course Tuesday nights is Magcast, I was supposed to have a birthday celebration podcast for my birthday, and I was horribly ill, and I literally couldn't speak. So I missed XNC. I couldn't talk. I had no voice. Tuesday, I was not only had no voice, I was no voice, and I was really sick. Like I was bedridden sick. So I was out for the whole week. So I was like, forget it. So we postponed it. So this Tuesday, tomorrow night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern Standard on the channel. Links are in below and in the chat, of course, as well. And I will be doing my birthday celebration Magcast tomorrow night. There'll be lots to talk about, as always. And then from there, I may or may not do a couple of little mini streams if I'm up for it. I might do a couple of streams here and there of doing some Resident Evil 2 runs and getting them in there before Resident Evil Requiem, because it both takes place in Raccoon City, in the same place, in the police station. So I may do a little bit of that before Thursday, and if they release the game before midnight, I may just go live on Thursday. But for sure, without question, Friday is going to be an all-day and all-night Resident Evil celebration. So we're going to be doing all that.
Toothpicks in the eyes and everything.
Oh, dude, I might do it in 2 parts. Like I might do like a 3-4 hours, whatever, take a break, eat, do all that kind of stuff, take care of the kids, and then do another 4 hours at night. And just Resident Evil all day and night, a whole celebration this whole week for my favorite video game franchise of all time. So I'm going to be doing all that. And on top of all that, I'm going to be doing videos and content as well, which I was doing last week.
Instead of making shorts up in the snow, like up in the boonies, you're you're making shorts like because you were.
I did. I was in my closet, not my closet, in the closet of the room I was in, and I was filming shorts in there while everybody's getting drunk outside by the bonfire in the snow. And I'm like, all right, guys, I'll be right there. I'll bring you a couple beers. And then I'm like sitting there doing shorts because I had no access to proper equipment, right? But I was able to get videos out last week because my voice would last long enough to do 1 or 2 minute clips at a time.
You had a big video last week too, bro.
My Resident Evil video broke my channel record. So
what did it get up to? Because it was at like 6,000. He did. Mag did a video about the. Hold on, Mag did a video about the spoilers that were being shared about Resident Evil Requiem and putting a stop to it. Yeah. So what did you get up to?
No, it passed that. It's now climbing up. Went past 10,000 and heading towards 11.
Nice.
So I was like 11,000 views on that video. So that was the biggest video my channel's ever done in the first year that I've done this. So super happy about that. But yeah, so we'll be doing that. So it's
that's like a whole lot of Resident Evil stadium full of. That's like a Blue Jay stadium full of people watching your video because no one watches the Blue Jays anymore.
Oh, really? Eh? All right, we'll see about those Mariners and their little Switch 2 bands on their arms. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. No, you're amazing, bro.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to make fun of you.
No, it's all good. So, awesome. Tomorrow night we're going to have the birthday celebration on the channel.
Sweet.
But no, Glinzer, I did not put... See, he says I skipped Meg's video because I feared spoilers. No, I would never do that. If you actually look at the thumbnail on the bottom, I said, why do people do this? And then whatever. But
they never read.
Anyways.
No, the shot at the Blue Jays was for fun. The Blue Jays are awesome. I'm a big baseball fan, and I actually like all of the teams until they beat the Mariners, and then I kind of keep it quiet. But Mag, you're amazing. I don't know what I have planned. Everyone's like writing articles and putting out videos every day about Asha Sharma. So thank you all for supporting what we do. If you want to hear a very condensed version of what experts and insiders and what I have to say about it, you can check out my video today. And keep an eye out for Mags and go sub. We appreciate 4XP for supporting what we do. Go there and get a delicious drink to keep you awake because the games are pouring in. Mag, we'll wait till next week. We'll do this all over again. It's been awesome.
We'll do it all over again, buddy.
Make sure I got the last one is KY Bob, who's a good friend who runs Game Set Live. Go support him. He says, been listening for a while, put in my 100th hour of The Last Caretaker. I wouldn't miss it, Colt. Great show, guys. KY, we appreciate you. Longtime friend. Been talking to him for probably 8 years. This community's amazing. Except for the couple of people that left me in the dust that don't like me anymore. I still love you. You guys are amazing. Mag, all right, we're out. Have a good night, guys.
Everybody have a great night.
All right,
see you all tomorrow.